I have a planetary system. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 51 New Gamma Play. The Shitting and Monster tribes were in the middle of a fight when they suddenly felt the ground shaking. They turned back to investigate and found that a cavalry force of more than 100,000 was rushing towards the area where the two tribes were fighting. Their expressions showed that they were very anxious and excited, which made both races stop and dare not act rashly. There was an extra force for no reason. The Shitting tribe was worried that if the target was themselves, they would really be exterminated. Although the Monster tribe was not afraid of this sudden force. After all, they only had 100,000 people. They were afraid of accidents if they helped the Shitting. In fact, both sides felt that they were helping the other side. The Shitting tribe did not know the human race, and the Monster tribe did not know the human race either. The Shitting tribe was considering being ready to break out and run away at any time, while the Monster tribe was considering killing the human race at any time. The assassination troops at the front shouted loudly, "Brothers of the Shitting tribe, don't do it. We are here to help you. These enemies are not the ones who have experienced the enemy. Let us do it." Before the assassination troops rushed to the front, the longbow troops in the back had already shot arrows at the Moss tribe. A round of volleys of tens of thousands of arrows rushed into the Moss tribe. The Moss tribe immediately wanted to kill the assassination troops with red eyes. The chief of the Shitting tribe was overjoyed to see this scene. He turned back and ordered his tribesmen to help the human race to eliminate the Moss tribe. However, when the human race troops passed the Shitting tribe, they all persuaded, "Brothers, don't do it. Yes, don't do it. Just let us do it. We must die before you, and your tribe must not have any more sacrifices. If they want to kill you, they have to step over our bodies." The Shitting tribe members felt puzzled, but very moved to see that this group of strangers actually fought to the death with the enemy for their own race. Of course, they couldn't let their foreign friends face it alone. The chief hurriedly ordered a fight to the death with the other side. The rest of the Shitting tribe's monkeys followed the players and rushed over. All the players had the same thought at this time. Are these guys mentally retarded? Liangting was anxious when she saw the system prompt that there were only 400,000 Shitting tribe members left. The main force would take another 10 minutes to arrive at the battlefield. She hurriedly ordered the frontline troops to protect the Shitting tribe at all costs and not let the other side lose any more people. The assassination troops and the longbow troops, who had originally planned to kill people, turned back to block the Shitting tribe with curses. Just when the monkeys were at a loss, the assassination troops picked up the nearest monkey and ran back, shouting as he ran, "Brothers of the Shitting tribe, let's run first and fight later. Yes, let's run first. You can't sacrifice anymore. Don't charge, I beg you." The Shitting tribe were carried up by the players around them and ran back. The Most tribe had already planned to meet the opponent's charge, but they found that the opponent suddenly turned around and picked up the monkey and ran back halfway through the charge. The Most tribe leader was stunned for a long time and didn't react. They ran away just like that with such high morale! Exclamation mark. The Monster tribe with spears threw spears at the fleeing enemies. Seeing this, the players hurriedly stood in front of the Shitting tribe to take the damage. The players who were hit were all below half health. They carried the monkeys and ran back without looking back, muttering, "Damn it, if I fight you in close, I will kill you in seconds." The Shitting tribe saw that a race they didn't know blocked the fatal damage for their people. This selfless and unrewarding behavior deeply moved the monkeys who were originally stunned. "We can't let our friends get hurt." The Shitting tribe who were carried struggled and tried to break free from the players' protection and land to continue fighting. However, this behavior was a hindrance in the eyes of the players. Before the Shitting tribe broke free, the second round of Monster's projectiles came again, and the players had to stand in front again. The damage this time killed some players. The players who died were like 10,000 alpacas galloping in their hearts. "I didn't get any honor points and died in vain. These idiots really make people worry." Some of the Shitten tribe members who had broken free from their restraints saw their dead friends with red eyes, and their fighting spirit was unprecedentedly high. They sacrificed themselves in front of them to protect their own people, and stood in front of them to protect their own people. This kind of friendship transcends life and death. With this group of fearless friends, why should we fear death? I want to avenge our friends. The chief of the Shitten tribe roared to the sky, and all the Shitten tribe members also roared, and prepared to fight to the death with the Most tribe. However, when the fighting spirit was high, the longbow troops who were just in the rear and the other assassin players who came one after another ran to the front line at this time. Just like the assassination just now, they carried the nearest Shitten tribe, and ran back again. The Shitten tribe members who were originally eager to fight, and planned to fight desperately seemed to be interrupted, and were stunned again. What on earth do these friends want to do? I can't figure it out. The large troops in the rear laughed like pigs when they saw the live broadcast. I didn't expect it. As expected, we still have to rely on our large troops in the end. The assassin and the archer who were about to arrive at the front line silently cancelled their sprint skills and slowly hurried on their way to wait for the main force. When half of the assassins and archers on the front line died, the main force finally arrived. Before Liang Ting gave the order, all the players rushed up and taunted as they ran. "Thank you for your hard work, assassin brothers. Leave the rest to us." As expected, we still have to rely on us to fight the battle. It has to be said that you are the most unknown profession. The assassin player who arrived at the front line first was so angry that he decisively put down the monkeys of the Shitten tribe and turned back to fight. The Shitten tribe members were confused when they saw a group of troops several times larger than their own coming. The players ignored the monkeys and rushed towards the Most tribe. What virtue do we have to have so many friends to fight for us? The chief of the Shitten tribe thought silently. Seeing this group of desperate friendly troops blocking guns, charging, and fighting for him, the tribe leader, who should have been moved, was only stunned at this time because the friendly troops did not seem to like him intervening. Every time he planned to summon his tribe members to help, there were always friendly troops persuading him to consider his tribe members and not to take action. The Most tribe had already begun to think of retreating under the continuous attack of the players. The tribe gradually moved back and fought and retreated. However, the millions of combat forces could not retreat just because they wanted to. Liang Ting issued a command to let the assassin players not consider the front line output, but directly cut to the back of the Most tribe to cut off their retreat, calling on the Guardian, Sword Dance, and Guardian to push forward desperately while the element and curses bombarded the center of the opponent's troops. The Most tribe, who had originally thought of retreating, saw that there were wolves in front and tigers behind, so they could only fight to the death. After 3 hours of fighting, at the cost of more than 1 million players, the Most tribe in the outer domain was finally eaten. No mistakes. One post, one content, one post. Chapter 52 System Notification. Finally the gang is open. 1 million soul points. The damn official is not a human being again. Noobers are looking for a gang, guaranteed to be obedient, cute and warm the bed. So do you know what a gang token is? Almost all players who intend to establish a gang go to the official website to check the origin of the gang token. Gang token, a prerequisite for establishing a gang, which can be obtained by opening the Earth Treasure Box and Ocean Treasure Box, or by killing higher creatures and boss. Earth Treasure Box, a treasure box randomly generated on the Earth, which requires a treasure box key to open. Ocean Treasure Box, a treasure box randomly generated in the ocean, which requires a treasure box key to open. The explanation on the official website made players complain. After all, they had never seen a treasure box on the Earth or the ocean, and they had no idea what to do, and they had never encountered the so-called higher creatures. The boss was simple, but the official showed that the probability of the boss dropping a gang token was less than 0.5%. While everyone was protesting to the authorities, He-Yan quietly put the ocean treasure chest he had obtained before on the exchange for bidding. Just kidding. What's the use of having a treasure chest? You still need to find the ocean overlord to get the key, and you may not be able to open it. I don't know what to do with it during this period of time for fear of losing it. Now I take advantage of the popularity of gang gamma play and sell it decisively. Seeing that someone actually put the ocean treasure chest on the exchange, the pot exploded. Interested players bid on the trading platform 100,000 Chinese currency, 150,000 Chinese currency, 180,000 Chinese currency, 200,000 Chinese currency. Almost all players with funds participated in the auction. There will be more and more gangs in the future, but the first person to establish a gang can be remembered. This is an honor and a brand. No matter what, you have to be the first person to establish a gang. The idea of adding new gangs was proposed by Bai Bing with the purpose of earning soul points from players. Now Bai reminds himself to earn soul points every other day, and Bai Bing is really annoyed, so he simply came up with a gang system. Soul points are required as handling fees for trading treasure chests, setting up gangs, upgrading gangs, and killing higher level creatures and bosses requires players to form a team, to buy supplies and return tickets to travel, which requires soul points. Everything is for soul points, so players can only be wronged. Bai complained that Bai Bing did not treat players as human beings, while happily counting soul points. Since resurrecting King Chujiang, Bai Bing felt that Bai was a little schizophrenic. The chief of the Shitting tribe stared at this group of friends of unknown race, sometimes in a daze, sometimes in a trance, sometimes cursing and chatting, and ignored the tribesmen who died in the previous battle. There are such races in this world. You say they are ruthless, they risked their lives to save their own unrelated and unknown race. You say they are affectionate, but they are indifferent to the death of their own kind, fearing that these guys would suddenly turn around and chop them all up. Liangting came to the largest snow white ape and said in a friendly manner, "Hello, are you the chief of the Shitting tribe? What is your name?" The snow white ape responded hurriedly, "Yes, that's right. Friends can call me Yuan Fang. May I ask where you are from?" Liangting subconsciously, "Yuan Fang, what do you think?" "Yuan Fang?" Liangting quickly changed her words. "Sorry, I lost my words. Hello, Chief Ape. We are from the human race. We are here to help Chief Ape defeat the enemy. By the way, we want to establish diplomatic relations with Chief Ape's Shitting tribe. What do you think?" Chief Ape Fang and the surrounding tribesmen looked at each other with confusion. Establish diplomatic relations? Liangting smiled and explained, "It means to form an alliance, non-aggression, and trade. Our two races can trade their own specialties, jointly resist foreign enemies, and cannot invade each other." For a moment, the Ape Fang didn't know how to make sense of this relationship. These people came all the way here just to make friends? With this kind of fighting power, they can destroy their own race, so why bother to make friends? But they don't need to lie to us, and we have nothing worth lying to them. Finally, they believed Liangting and agreed. After all, it's not a loss to have such a powerful ally. Yuan Fang said to Liangting, "Friends of the human race, thank you for your efforts for our Shitting tribe. What can we do for our human friends who just died for our race?" The players around him said, "It's okay, they are dead. Yes, it's not a big problem, you don't have to mind. It's alright for friends." Yuan Fang, "Are these people sick? Don't you feel sad when so many of your own people died?" Liangting hurriedly tried to smooth things over. "Chief Ape, dying on the battlefield is the highest honor for our human race, and for friends, we have no complaints. Yes, that's it." Liangting felt that her own explanation was absurd, and she didn't know whether the other party believed this reason. However, after hearing the explanation, Yuan Fang's eyes instantly turned red. There was actually such a loyal race in the world. It was really a great honor for him to be able to form an alliance with this group of friends. Friends of the human race, don't worry. From now on, our Stone Ape tribe will be the most steadfast ally of the human race. Whenever you encounter trouble in the future, our entire tribe will help you. If there is a battle, we will definitely rush in front of you. No mistake, one song, one post, one content, 1619, one book, one bar. Ape Fang was moved and expressed his attitude, but the human players hurriedly advised him, don't, it's not necessary. Chief Ape, you just develop well here, don't waste time. Let us do the fighting, don't fight. Ape Fang. Liangting suddenly thought of something and asked, Chief Ape, do you know if there are any boss nearby? What is Persia? It's a powerful creature. Yuan Fang said, yes, there are many. Four-winged green snakes, deep lake crocodiles, earth yaks, many of them are the dominant creatures in our mountains. Why are you asking this? Liang Ting replied with a smile. Of course it's to beat them. Yuan Fang was stunned for a long time. These creatures are the undisputed kings of this area. Intelligent creatures basically dare not provoke them. If they meet them, they will run away. But this group of humans are so good. They rush to where there is danger. Are they sick? You feel uncomfortable all over if you don't fight for a day. After Liang Ting asked Yuan Fang about the location of the boss that he knew, she sent the approximate coordinates to the command channel. The level of the boss near the human race's main city is too low, and it is estimated that no gang tokens will be dropped. You can come to this area to try the following. These are the known bosses. There are some unknown ones that you can handle on your own. Those who are interested in establishing a gang can form their own team to fight. It must be said that Liang Ting is very responsible as the battle commander of the human race. She always considers the players. So many players are willing to buy Liang Ting's account. Almost all players on the level list have Liang Ting's game friends. When they encounter someone who needs help, they will think of Liang Ting, and she will help them if she can. After the battle of the Shitan tribe ended, Liang Ting disbanded the battle team. At this time, all players suddenly received a system message that shocked the server. Planet players, the area near the human race's main city has been basically explored. The main task has been changed. Clear the 18 layers of hell and find 10 items of the 10 kings of hell. The European server will be open soon. The European server and the Chinese server are the same server. Players can explore the location of the other server area by themselves. Players are requested to explore by themselves according to the Gamma Play. Chapter 53. Follow up to the announcement. Phone call with grandparents. Players on the Chinese server collectively went crazy. For Chinese players, this game is the best game in China. No doubt about it. Before this game came out, many foreign netizens ridiculed Chinese games for being only about crypt and gold. The Gamma Play was everywhere. The types of games were seriously copied, and the players were almost all idiots. But now, it's time to be proud. It's time for foreign game players to experience the cultural output of China's phenomenal games. This notice not only made Chinese players go crazy, but also shocked China's game industry. Planet quietly won the operating license for the European market, which caught many game producers off guard. Players hope that Planet will go overseas, but other game companies don't want to. This kind of game will not only rob foreign game producers of their market share, but will also cause domestic game companies to suffer heavy losses. After all, many foreign game companies are held by domestic companies. Bai Bing was indifferent to the overwhelming publicity and the shock to the entire industry. Anyway, the overall situation has been resolved. As long as I don't make a profit, I will occupy the moral high ground and you can't criticize me. Compared to Bai Bing's, the three good friends in the black and white company were in a miserable situation at this time. Huang Yue called and scolded Bai Bing, saying that they did not inform them in advance, which caught them off guard. Foreign game manufacturers have already shown a trend of collective boycott, and the company's public relations and the three people's work contact information are almost blown up. Bai Bing hurriedly comforted this resentful woman. Huang Yue said, you should at least wait until the exchange meeting is over tomorrow before posting. If you post it now, I can already imagine the scene of your boss being besieged. Bai Bing muttered, is it that serious? Huang Yue chuckled, what do you think? I was stunned when I saw the boss receive the notice. Fortunately, it is him, and not me who will attend the meeting tomorrow. No, I will turn off my phone and go off work first. I'm afraid that he will find me and ask me to go in his place tomorrow. That's it. Bye. After hanging up the phone, Bai Bing received another call from Yang Yefei. Yang Yefei joked on the phone, old Bai, you played a little too big this time. People were playing cards with you, and you came up with a pair of twos? Bai Bing smiled helplessly, why are you joining in the fun? Yang Yefei, I'm not joining in the fun. I called you to tell you that the official has noticed your overseas expansion this time. Bai Bing, tell me in detail. Yang Yefei, my dad just came home from get off work and told me that he got a call from his superiors praising his work. There is a company under his jurisdiction that is going overseas and exporting Chinese culture. They said they plan to praise you on the official TV station. Bai Bing, this is a good thing. Yang Yefei, it's a pity that my dad pushed it down. Bai Bing puzzled. Why? Anyway, what he meant to tell me is that, although the Chinese market does not focus on the gaming industry, it is still worth paying attention to the overseas expansion of companies. If your company is an ordinary gaming company, it would be fine, but your gaming player base is too large, and they also believe that you will achieve remarkable results overseas, so they pay special attention to you. What my dad meant is that if you want to continue to expand into other markets, don't be too high profile, as you may be targeted by others. Bai Bing thought about it and figured it out. This was indeed the case. The resistance in the European market alone is so great that, if you are too high profile, you may be easily blocked. It is better to keep a low profile. The next morning, Bai Bing came to the company to sign a contract with Haneda. Haneda's game studio in Europe is called Talisman Studio. Because of the change of ownership of the studio, there are less than 5 employees left. These 5 are the company's veterans. Haneda has also properly dismissed the rest of the employees, and the compensation is paid by the Black and White company. Bai Bing and Liang Xin signed their names without even reading the 2 contracts. The two signed the contract and stood up to shake hands after being photographed by several employees. Such details are considered by the legal department of the 2 companies, and the boss only needs to pretend. Liang Xin sold the talisman to the Black and White company at a very low price. Bai Bing knew that, although this was a mutually beneficial situation, she was actually taking advantage of it, and her relationship with Liang Xin was a little closer than before. Brother Liang, it's a pleasure to work with you. You've helped us a lot this time. Liang Xin smiled. We each get what we need. I haven't suffered any loss. The notice your game sent out yesterday also raised the popularity of Haneda. Bai Bing was not pretentious and shook hands with Liang Xin. Then I won't be polite. Let me know if you have any problems in the future. I will definitely help if I can. Liang Xin immediately said, that's what I've been waiting for you to say. I really want you to help me with something. Bai Bing smiled. Go ahead. Can you give my sister a gang token in the game? She specifically asked me to ask you before I came. Bai Bing laughed and agreed without even thinking about it. This kind of thing was a piece of cake for him. That's no problem, but you have to tell your sister that the soul value she should pay is still a penny less. Liang Xin laughed. I'll tell her when I go back. I hope she won't hate you. She often complains to me that the soul values in your game are so stingy. Liang Xin and Bai Bing said a few jokes and then left. Bai Bing didn't plan to drag it out. After appointing Fu Zhu's personnel in the company in the morning, he told them that they just needed to maintain the daily operation of the studio. After arranging the matters, Bai Bing didn't plan to wait. He decided to attend the exchange meeting tonight and open the European server tomorrow. Before dinner, Bai Bing received another call from Linlin. The other party told him that she saw the company's affairs today on the internet. She congratulated Bai Bing and then changed the topic to talk about other topics. Between the lines, she asked Bai Bing what program he had tonight. Bai Bing said, I have to attend an internet exchange meeting tonight. Knowing that Bai Bing was not free tonight, Linlin was a little disappointed and asked Bai Bing when he was free to visit the master's wife together. Bai Bing thought about it and agreed. It was indeed a long time since he had seen the master's wife. When he was in college, the master's wife often regarded him as her son when she was still conscious and treated him very well. Bai Bing didn't have the heart to expose it at the time. Every time he saw the master's wife looking at him with eyes full of expectations and hope, he couldn't bear to shatter the master's wife's fantasy but was powerless, and his heart would always be torn. After they chatted for a while, Linlin hung up the phone happily. Before she put down the phone rang again. What happened today? It felt like she had been answering calls all the time. The caller ID showed, Grandma. Bai Bing quickly picked up the phone and said sweetly, Grandma, do you miss me? Grandma's kind voice came from the other end of the phone. My dear grandson, have you eaten? Bai Bing, I have just finished eating. Has Grandma eaten? Grandma laughed. It's good that I have eaten. Grandma has eaten too. I tell you, my dear grandson, you must eat on time when you are outside. Don't overeat and hurt your stomach, okay? Bai Bing answered obediently. I know, Grandma. How are you and Grandpa? No mistake in one song, one post, one content, one book, one forum, 1619. Grandma was still laughing. It's all good. It's all good. Your grandpa was just talking about you. Will you come back home for the new year in a few months? Bai Bing replied, of course. I'll tell you the exact time in advance before I go back. Grandma, okay, I'm glad you're back. It's a pity that your dad can't be home for the new year. Our family hasn't been together for a long time. Grandpa's voice came from the phone. Why are you saying all this to Bai Bing? Really? Bai Bing said, it's okay, Grandma. Dad should be out tomorrow morning. We will go to pick him up together then, and our family will be reunited. Grandma was happy. Yes, my dear grandson. Do you have a girlfriend? Bai Bing was about to answer but didn't. Grandma continued, you should find a girlfriend quickly and bring her back to see Grandpa and Grandma. Your grandpa has not been in good health recently. He often coughs in the middle of the night. The second half of the words were obviously said in a low voice. Bai Bing didn't know how to answer for a moment. Grandpa took the phone and said to Bai Bing, Bai Bing, don't listen to your grandma's nonsense. Grandpa is in good health. You don't have to worry about her. Bai Bing, Grandpa, I have a girlfriend. You don't have to worry about her. Grandma heard Bai Bing's words and quickly snatched the phone. Really, my dear grandson, how old is she? Where is she from? What does she do? Ask her if she wants to come back with you for the new year. Grandpa interrupted. You are checking the household registration. Why are you asking so many questions? Bai Bing, don't pay attention to your grandma, but you can bring her back for dinner. Bai Bing. Suddenly, the image of Lin Lin came to my mind. It should be okay to use her as a cover. I answered perfunctorily. I will ask her when the time comes. If she agrees, I will take her back. Grandma immediately said, okay, you ask the girl. I won't tell you now. I will call your aunt and tell them. Then the phone was hung up. This old lady. Chapter 54 Susan Martin. In the evening, Bai Bing was waiting on the roadside. A white car stopped in front of Bai Bing. Bai Bing got in the car and joked, I didn't expect you to drive such a low-key car. Yang Yifu, I represent my father's image, and I still have to pretend when attending occasions. Bai Bing, why are you interested in participating in this kind of exchange meeting today? It has nothing to do with your business. Yang Yifu, it really has nothing to do with it. I'm just accompanying you. Bai Bing, your father should be attending the meeting today, right? Yang Yifu nodded. He has to go to this kind of international exchange meeting to support the scene. The two chatted all the way to the convention and exhibition center. Maybe because they were too low-key, people around didn't pay much attention to this place. When they arrived at the door of the conference hall, they took out the invitation letters and handed them over before entering. After entering, a middle-aged man saw the two and hurriedly stepped forward to be polite to Yang Yifu. Mr. Yang, you are also attending the meeting today. I don't remember seeing your name among the guests. Yang Yifu shook hands with the other party and said politely, I'm not among the guests. I just came to visit with my friends. The middle-aged man looked at Bai Bing and smiled. Mr. Yang, what is your name, sir? Bai Bing shook hands with the other party and said, hello, your name is Bai. Yang Yifu said, okay, old Chen, you go about your business. I'll take my friends around. The middle-aged man understood the meaning of the words and said, then I won't bother you two anymore. If you have anything to say, I'll go and do my work first. After that, he left. Yang Yifu, he is Chen Li, the general manager of Golden Shield Company. He is in charge of tonight's security. Any large-scale activities in Yangcheng are basically handled by his company's soldiers. He is also a man of some strength. Bai Bing joked again, it's hard to keep a low profile around you. Yang Yifu ignored Bai Bing. The two entered the conference room and found a corner to sit down. The meeting was already halfway through. Yang Jianmin was sitting in the center of the main guest seat. Surrounding him were government officials. There were 4 people sitting on the stage. One was Louis Gari, the chairman of MIFI. He was a foreigner. When Bai Bing was the chairman of MIFI, he was defeated by this person with capital. As a local internet exchange meeting, MIFI, as a homegrown enterprise, must always have a place. Although MIFI's strength is far from enough to meet the standards of the top domestic internet companies, the other two of them are CEOs of well-known domestic internet companies, and the other one is a famous host in Guangdong province. 3 people on the stage were arguing about the ecological environment and future prospects of the internet in civilized, logical and high-sounding words. Yang Yefei felt sleepy after listening for a while. Turning around, he saw Bai Bing playing with her phone and not listening at all. He asked in confusion, "Aren't you listening?" Bai Bing glanced at the 3 people arguing on the stage and said, "What's so good about it? People in the industry know that these words are for their own users. They want their users to know the strength and image of their company. In fact, what they say and what they do are completely different. I'm not here to listen to their preaching." Yang Yefei, "Then why are you here?" "For her." Bai Bing showed the screen of her mobile phone, and on the screen was a foreign woman under 30 years old. Yang Yefei looked at her carefully for a while. "She is very pretty." "Who is she?" "Martin Susan, the boss of the American Fireworks game studio. She should be at the exchange meeting today." Yang Yefei clicked his tongue. "I didn't expect that. I thought you would be quiet for a while, but I didn't expect you to have such a big appetite." Bai Bing smiled. "I noticed her yesterday. My roommate told me that their game studio in America can no longer operate and asked me to see if there is any chance to take her down." "Isn't your roommate also here? Can't he go and contact her?" "My roommate is a guest attending the conference. Now more than half of the people in the exhibition hall are staring at our company's planet. He is responsible for attracting hatred in the open, and I'm responsible for stealing towers in secret." Yang Yefei clapped his hands to show how awesome he was. Bai Bing was helpless. "Originally, this kind of thing was done by Huang Yewei, but we can't find him." He turned off his phone. "This bastard." Yang Yefei ignored and continued to watch the quarrel on the field. Bai Bing said, "Do me a favor?" "What favor?" "Please invite this Ms. Martin Susan to come over for a chat." "Why should I go?" "You can go too." Bai Bing said frivolously, "I'm an ordinary person now. No one would care about me if they don't know me. You are different. You are a young master of Guangdong province. People will still give you this face." Yang Yefei struggled. "I don't know where she sits." Bai Bing succeeded and pointed the direction with a smile and said, "I know. West District, row 3, 12. Yang Yefei was helpless. "How did you know?" Bai Bing looked at him innocently. "Is this difficult?" "Just kidding. I have a system." After a while, Yang Yefei led Martin Susan to Bai Bing's corner. It must be said that Susan has the basic characteristics of European women, deep contours, and a good figure. Many stars can't compare with this image. Yang Yefei introduced, "Miss Susan, this is the person who wants to see you." Bai Bing stood up and stretched out her hand politely and said, "Hello, Miss Susan, I'm sorry to bother you. My name is Bai Bing. I hope you don't mind if I invite you to come here." Susan shook hands and looked at Bai Bing in front of her. He was quite handsome and had a good temperament. "Is he trying to chat with me?" "Hello, Mr. Bai, I don't know what your purpose is in looking for me," Susan asked. "Bai Bing, I heard that Miss Susan is planning to sell the game studio in America, and I just need to open up the American market." Susan understood. "I see. I do have this idea. If Mr. Bai is sincere, I don't mind having another friend." "Bai Bing, please go ahead." "Susan, I want to know which company Mr. Bai represents first." "Black and White. I wonder if Ms. Susan has heard of it?" Susan suddenly realized and seemed to suddenly remember something. "Black and White. Bai Bing. Mr. Bai is the boss of Black and White Company?" Bai Bing smiled and nodded, and Susan's expression became closer. "The outside world has always wanted to know who Mr. Bai is, but I didn't expect him to be such a young and handsome guy. Forgive me for my poor eyesight." The two complimented each other for a while, and Susan said, "If Mr. Bai is interested in fireworks, then I can understand. Although I have not been in China for a long time, the game planet is a landmark benchmark. I'm very happy to deliver fireworks to Mr. Bai." Bai Bing knew that there is no free lunch in the world. "What are the conditions?" Susan opened her mouth loudly. The internet market in China is quite big, and Mr. Bai's company is also a part of the internet industry. If possible, how about I exchange the fireworks for a portion of Mr. Bai's company's shares? Bai Bing didn't say anything and kept looking at Susan. Miss Susan also smiled and looked at Bai Bing. I'll go back and think about it. It's nice to meet you, Miss Susan. Bai Bing ordered her to leave. Susan's expression changed slightly, then she stood up politely, exchanged a few words and left. Yang Yifei listened to the conversation between the two throughout. This Susan has a really big appetite. She's not afraid of choking to death. Bai Bing said, the sale of fireworks is fake news she released. It seems we have been fooled by her. Yang Yifei laughed. I can see that the sale of fireworks is fake, and her participation in the Chinese internet industry is real. Companies that have the ability to acquire fireworks are basically powerful internet companies. She is doing market research. Bai Bing stood up. Let's go. This time we return empty-handed. Yang Yifei, I'll go back with you. Watching the two leave, Susan smiled and said to herself, I didn't expect to catch a big fish. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 55 European Server Opening. At 8 o'clock the next morning, the European server of Planet was opened, and a large number of European players flooded into the server. Previously, European players had seen a series of attractive and shocking videos about the game's campaigns, battles, gameplay, freedom, and authenticity on the internet. Many people have been looking forward to Planet for a long time. Black and White Company established the European official website of Planet through the European Fuzhou Game Studio. All permissions are decided by Black and White themselves. In fact, it is operated by Black and White. Originally, Bai Bing felt that the Fuzhou studio did not need to place employees, but the current unemployed employees are all old employees of Fuzhou, and it is inhumane to fire them. Moreover, Fuzhou still needs people on the surface, so Bai Bing decided to keep them to take care of the basic affairs of the studio. Anyway, there is no shortage of this salary. System notification. Planet is now open to the European server. In order to distinguish the main city, the name of the human race main city in the Chinese server is changed to Jiu Shanzhuandu, and the name of the human race main city in the European server is City of Hope. The game has opened a cross-server chat channel, and each speech is charged 20 soul points. The cross-server trading platform is open. Players can trade 3 times a week, and the platform charges soul value handling fees. Players are requested to explore according to the gameplay. Seeing this cross-server chat channel, China knew that the official wanted to cheat its soul value again. Haha, how is it possible? You must cheat the players of the European server. The Chinese server and the European server are set up on the same backend server, so it stands to reason that the Chinese server and the European server can meet in the game. Players of the Chinese server know that today is the day of the European server, and many players want to go to the European server to bully the newcomers and show off their power. Although the game notification clearly stated that the official will not tolerate any gameplay of the game, you think that before the two servers meet, they should at least know the location of each other. In addition to the map around the main city of the Chinese server, the rest of the map has not been developed yet. Players don't know where the European server is set on the map. At the same time, they have to cite the vastness of the Planet game area. Mijim is one of the players who are looking forward to the opening of the European server of Planet. In his country, work is very easy. The company cannot fire employees at will, and there is no overtime at work, so Mijim has a lot of time to stay at home and play games. Once he saw the shocking scenes in Planet on the internet, he completely fell in love with this game. He recommended it to his friends around him countless times, but unfortunately there is no server in his country, so he has always regretted it. Today, Mijim entered the game directly after the European server was opened, and couldn't wait to experience the gameplay he had been looking forward to for a long time. Registration ID, Jim's Egg, occupation is warrior, and the name of the main city is City of Hope. The fresh air around, the real feeling, the shocking vast city-state, and the new players around him who seem to have never seen the world like him, this game really did not disappoint him. Open the task interface. The main task above shows no main task. Players can receive NPC side tasks in the main city. Please explore according to the gameplay. No main task. I plan to send a message in the world channel, but it shows that the soul value is insufficient, and I can't speak. What the hell? Is there no novice tips in this game? So willful? When you open the forum, you will see all kinds of shocking game experiences and gameplay consultations. At this time, the Chinese players are collectively cheated by members of the War Propaganda Bureau. Some tell players that they don't need to do NPC tasks in the early stage of the game. Just go out and fight monsters, because the monsters are very big and there are many things that explode. Some tell players whether the soul of the game is worth money. Don't save it, just spend it. Some tell players that if they see the NPC in the main city unhappy, they can beat it up, and there is a chance to trigger hidden tasks. Various tricks of misleading are emerging one after another. As a senior game player, me knew at a glance that this was a scam, but after closing the forum, various magical phenomena around him made him call him an expert. Some players saw an elderly woman harassing and finally being arrested by the guards in the city. Some players came to the NPC selling goods and robbed them directly and were killed by the guards. Some players went out of the city alone to fight wild monsters and were beaten to death, etc. Bai Bing couldn't help laughing when he saw the operations of the European players. After a morning of bloody lessons, the European players finally knew that they were cheated, and they condemned the Chinese players fiercely, but could do nothing. The number of online users of the European server soared to 100,000 in just one morning after it was launched. Some players went out in groups of 3 or 5 to fight monsters, some did tasks in the main city, and some went to explore the map. The high degree of freedom in the gameplay caused the number of users of other games in Europe to drop sharply. Compared to this game, I feel like all the games I played before are shit. I just want to know where the Chinese server is now. I want to curry favor with them. It's too difficult to upgrade in the early stages of this game. Can you believe there's no main quest? Is there no recharge page for this game? Is the Chinese company so rich? There's no charge for opening 2 servers at the same time. I've already booked 2 years of Nutrient Solution online. I'm going to play until I die in the virtual warehouse. High prices for soul points, transactions on the trading platform. Do you have a handling fee upstairs? While European players were still exploring how to play the game, in a cave not far from the City of Hope, a lying black shadow opened his eyes. His fiery red eyeballs swept in the direction of the City of Hope, sat up woodenly, and muttered to himself, "Strange, where did this race come from?" A black eagle flew into the cave and stood on the black shadow's shoulder. The black shadow stroked the eagle and continued to mutter, "Are they here to find me? It turns out they aren't. No, then I won't care about them. Have the elves' pursuers arrived? So few people. Then I will kill all these ants." The domineering of the Black and White Company has caused dissatisfaction among most domestic game companies. Peng Cheng told himself that they have already shown a trend of banding together. He has been under a lot of pressure these days. Many corporate bosses and even important personnel have contacted him. No mistakes in one song, one post, one content, 1619, one book, one bar. Bai Bing asked, "What?" Peng Cheng's tired voice came over the phone. "It's nothing more than wanting a piece of the pie." Bai Bing smiled. "The purpose of our game is not to charge. What do they want to share?" Peng Cheng, "They don't believe it, and even if it's not profitable, such a large player group is enough for them to pay attention to. While I can still hold on now, I suggest you find a backer as soon as possible." Bai Bing hung up the phone and sighed. Finding a backer is not that easy. His biggest backer is Black and White. After thinking for a long time, he couldn't figure it out. It's better to take it one step at a time. At this time, Lin Lin called, "Bai Bing, I have an appointment with a teacher for dinner tonight. Do you want to come with me?" Chapter 56, The Fighting Overlord and the Earth Treasure Chest. European players were just starting to play and couldn't make any trouble for the time being, but a shocking event happened on the Chinese server. The Chinese server notified, "Listen to me, it's right to form a first level gang cabinet." The world channel was instantly in an uproar. Where did the gang token come from? Isn't the ocean treasure chest still hanging on the trading platform? There's an inside story. Boss, please hire me, I'll warm your bed. The gang token in Liangting's hand was exactly the one that Bai Bing promised Liangxin. Liangting immediately formed a gang after getting it. The first gang in the whole server was thus darkly established. Liangting sent a message on the world channel. The cabinet is recruiting members. Those who have been online for a long time and have good qualities, please apply. Application restrictions: above level 40, above second job transfer. This requirement is actually very loose. At this time, 10 levels of the 18 levels of hell in the Chinese server have been cleared, and 7 items of the 10 kings of hell have been found. Now a considerable number of players have reached level 40 and successfully changed their jobs for the second time. Second job transfer means that the sword dancer transfers to the holy sword disciple, the guardian transfers to the Akalanatha, the elementalist transfers to the omniscient mage, the cursor transfers to the void mage, the assassin transfers to the shadow killer, the long range archer transfers to the endless, the healer transfers to the holy healer, and the protector transfers to the Dharma image. Bai Bing asked Hei Bai why he didn't resurrect the other Hades. Hei Bai's answer was that it was unnecessary and there was not so much soul value to resurrect now. The first gang in the whole server, and the leader is also the permanent commander of the human race. Because of his high popularity and prestige, the application limit of 100 people in the first level gang was almost full in an instant. Liangting looked at the dense number of applicants and was a little entangled. Too many people she knew sent private messages to her. If she agreed, she would offend others, and if she disagreed, she would offend more people. She didn't know what to do. The only solution was to apply for a second level gang, but the second level gang required 5 million souls. The 1 million she used to set up the gang had already emptied herself. Where would she get another 5 million? She silently insulted the official for being inhuman. After finally passing the private messages of some players who had a good relationship with her, and the strong players from the application list, the first thing Liangting did was to organize the gang members to visit the bosses in the Shuan Mountains. There was no other way. She was too poor. She didn't even have the soul points to buy medicine. The first stop for the members of the cabinet gang to go to the Shuan Mountains was the tribe of the Shitten tribe. The Shitten tribe produced a fruit wine called monkey wine, which could increase the player's dodge and had a certain temporary poison resistance bonus. The Shuan Mountains were full of swamps, jungles and other environments. In some places, the air was toxic. Although the higher the level of the player, the stronger the poison resistance, it was still necessary to purchase it for safety. Liangting watched her gang members spend money like water to buy a large amount of medicine and monkey wine. She was penniless and embarrassed to say it out loud, and her eyes were red. When the members saw Liangting like this, they said, "Master, what's wrong with you?" Liangting smiled with red eyes. "I'm murderous." Shuan Mountain is the most extensive map near the main city of Jiushan Zuandu. The chief of the Shitten tribe provided a total of 3 overlord bosses, all of which were very far away. The cabinet members' mounts ran until they were exhausted, and they only ran halfway. They had no choice but to walk to the nearest boss area. The remaining half of the journey would take at least half an hour to reach. The first team building of the first gang in the whole server could not be abandoned without any gains. Liangting had to persist, no matter how far the road was. However, just as the 100 players were rushing on their way, a loud noise scared everyone. They saw dense birds flying into the sky from a forest not far away. Just as the players were stunned, a loud noise came from the forest again, accompanied by the roar of 2 beasts. There is a battle. All the players' eyes lit up instantly. A battle means soul value, experience, and equipment. The next one may accidentally trigger a battle, which would make a lot of money. Liangting hurriedly summoned her exhausted mount to charge with the gang members, and they did not forget to tease each other on the way. "Master, your mount is foaming at the mouth. Yours is not much better. It looks like it is breathing out more than breathing in. I think my mount can hold on for a while. Your mount is showing its martial arts skills to the fullest." Same here. As soon as they entered the forest, the players immediately felt a violent tremor. Liangting ordered Yingxia and Wu Jin to go ahead to investigate. After the job transfer, the two assassin classes not only had a much abnormal output, but also had a qualitative leap in survivability, and were not so easy to be killed. 10 minutes later, a video message was sent from the team channel. After opening it, they saw two overlord level bosses fighting each other. Coincidentally, both bosses were the targets of the player's trip, namely a dark green, thick, winged four-winged green snake and a huge deep lake crocodile with black armor. The players immediately watched the excitement. This opportunity is simply a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The snipe and the clam are fighting. Hurry, 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 while they are still alive. Let's go over and finish them off. Let them feel our enthusiasm. Hurry up and stop the fight. The players collectively ran to the coordinates. The assassin players on the front line were happily opening the live broadcast room and giving a passionate speech. Seeing that the cabinet gang had such a big hand in the first team building, a large number of players instantly poured into the live broadcast room. No mistake, one song, one post, one content, one book, one bar, 1619, one book, one bar, one look. Now is the live broadcast brought to you by the cabinet. First, this cute snake sprayed a jet of pitch black poisonous mist at the ugly crocodile. Great. Although the ugly crocodile is bulky, it dodged it. I didn't expect that the ugly crocodile is not only ugly, but also a flexible fat man. Everyone saw that the ground sprayed by the poisonous mist was corroded instantly. The ugly crocodile was obviously enraged. It rushed towards the snake with a vigorous step and opened its bloody mouth to bite the snake's vital point. The snake ran away when it saw this scene. Alas. It's a pity that the ugly crocodile still bit its tail. Let's see if the ugly crocodile will do something crazy to the snake. The ugly crocodile bit the snake and wanted to push the snake to the ground with its dirty hands. The picture is too ambiguous. You are different species. There will be no result. Snake obviously didn't want to be pushed down by the ugly crocodile in front of it. It used its slender body to tightly wrap around the ugly crocodile to make it unable to move. Snake opened its fangs and kissed the ugly crocodile. Alas, it's a pity that the black armor was too thick and it couldn't bite through it. What a pity. The ugly crocodile seemed to be suffocated by the entanglement and kept scratching Snake's body with its dirty girlfriend claws. Snake's dark and tender skin was scratched by the ugly crocodile, leaving several bloody marks. It really made me cry and feel heartbroken. The ugly crocodile just wanted to force himself on her and didn't know how to be gentle with her. A fierce battle with the overlord boss was turned into a story that was not suitable for children by these assassin players. All kinds of dirty messages popped up in the live broadcast room. Snake should just give in. The same kind only has offspring, and different kinds are true love. I have to say that Snake's skin is really tender. Can the anchor ask what skincare products she uses? Sure enough, only those with thick skin can find a girlfriend. At this time, the cabinet members behind also rushed up. Liangting was lying next to the assassin player and was very confused when watching the two bosses fighting. Logically, this kind of overlord level boss has its own territory and will not easily leave without reason and will not easily fight when seeing other overlord creatures. But now it is not just a fight to the death. And this forest is not the territory of the two overlord bosses. Liangting asked the assassin player, and one of the endless pointed in a direction in the distance and said, it may be because of that. The players looked over and saw a faintly glowing treasure chest in a bush in the distance. It was completely invisible without careful observation, and the name of the treasure chest was exactly Earth Treasure Chest. Chapter 57. The Deep Lake Crocodile Beaten to Death. I have a bold idea. Me too. Liangting covered her face at the sly smiles of the members around her. Please don't do that, okay? She thought to herself that our cabinet is a serious gang. However, seeing the eager eyes of the surrounding gang members looking at her, she finally nodded helplessly. Seeing Liangting's approval, several assassin players immediately sneaked around to the Earth Treasure Chest. Before leaving, they did not forget to say to Liangting, Master, don't worry, we will definitely not let you down. We are professionals. Who wants your expertise in this area? Exclamation mark. Liangting ignored the members who left and turned back to face the two bosses fighting. The four-winged green snake was obviously not the opponent of the Deep Lake Crocodile. The scales on the former were torn off several times, and blood kept flowing out of the skin. On the contrary, the deep lake crocodile was unscathed because of its heavy outer armor. The angry green snake loosened its entangled body, and its two pairs of wings glowed and stabbed at the crocodile. What the players did not expect was that the wings of the green snake were the most hidden weapons. The sharp wings broke through the crocodile's armor and stabbed into its body. The crocodile roared in pain and released its mouth. The green snake hurriedly moved away and tried to pull out its wings for another attack. However, after the crocodile released its mouth, it immediately turned around and whipped the green snake with its tail. The green snake was obviously stunned by the critical hit. The strong impact caused it to knock down several trees and fall to the ground, struggling to move its body. The anger in its eyes increased instead of decreasing. It even tried to stand up and fight, but its injuries were too severe, and it failed to raise its head several times. The deep lake crocodile was obviously enraged. Regardless of the blood flowing from its body, it stepped forward and slapped the ground heavily. A protruding rock suddenly appeared where the green snake fell. The bulging ground rock caused secondary vibration damage to the green snake, causing it to fly several meters away again. At this time, the green snake no longer had the anger it had just now. Looking at the opponent who was walking towards it step by step, his eyes revealed unwillingness. The players then said, "It's time to finish off the enemy, Master. You can be a hero and save the beauty. Snake is so pitiful, we have to avenge it. Yes, let's help it take down the crocodile. Then go back and kill Snake. Great minds think alike. We are professionals." Liang Ting thought to herself, how could I have recruited a bunch of hooligans like you? The earth treasure chest had been put into the backpack by the gang members. At this moment, they were smiling at her with a mean look on their faces, as if they wanted to be praised. Liang Ting covered her face and said helplessly, "Okay, let's kill the deep lake crocodile first." The players received the order and prepared to work collectively. They had not fought a serious battle since their second job change in such a long time. Although the experience soul value explosion rate of the 18 layers of hell copy was high, after the members successfully changed their jobs, few bosses could withstand their damage. Now there are higher level monsters like the Overlord boss. It is hard not to be itchy. Liang Ting commanded. In addition to the status and blood of the Dharma phase, all melee attacks are close to the face. Akala is responsible for standing in front of the boss to attract hatred. Holy Sword and Shadow Kill are on the side or behind. Omniscience is responsible for full strength output. Void is responsible for summoning elemental elves and continuous output. Holy Healing now has group blood. Your task is to prevent any Akala player from dying. Although the boss is injured, don't underestimate the enemy. The deep lake crocodile came to the four-winged green snake and opened its bloody mouth to bite off the latter's head and crush it. Suddenly, a group of unknown creatures rushed towards him from all directions. The momentum of the Overlord does not allow provocation and roared to scare away the players, but the deep lake crocodile was obviously whimsical. The second job transfer once again emptied the players' family assets, and some did not even learn all the skills. Now there is a rare opportunity to make a fortune. They are not afraid of death, but they are afraid of you shouting. The most terrifying thing is that you don't explode after you die. Akala swung his weapon and jumped high to chop at the deep lake crocodile's head, shouting 80, 80, 80. Akala has a passive skill called Wild Provocation that can be learned. It naturally hates all creatures other than humans. As long as they are in a hostile state, the enemy's hatred value will be subtly attracted to you when you stand in front of them. The deep lake crocodile was attracted by Akala's turtle temperament, and the other players were desperate to output to the deep lake crocodile. This overlord level boss has an extremely thick health bar, and the deep lake crocodile has extremely high armor. Even the three professions with the highest output, Omniscience, Shadow Killer, and Infinity, did not deal much damage under the blessing of the all-round state of the Dharma. Fortunately, Akala could withstand it, and the amount of holy healing was sufficient. The four-winged green snake was puzzled when it saw the unknown race suddenly jumping out to help it, but when things turned around, the green snake would seize the opportunity, brewing energy to spray a stream of venom at the crocodile's feet. Although the green snake was injured, it was still a dominant boss, and the venom damage still caused a lot of damage to the crocodile. However, this behavior made the players very unhappy. Not only did it steal the damage and experience, but the venom also sprayed all the players. The health of the Aquila standing in the front row dropped by half in an instant. He hurriedly jumped out of the poison circle and drank antidote and monkey wine. He didn't dare to add blood in the magic connection state and hurriedly added blood to the front row. After much persuasion, the blood volume was raised. This operation made the players turn their heads and look at the green snake with resentment. This is really repaying kindness with enmity. You really want to let your friends die instead of me? Or should we chop it first? Or should we pull out its teeth? Seeing the players looking at it with hatred and resentment, the four-winged green snake obviously realized that it had done something wrong and kept sticking out its tongue to act cute. The players did not really attack it. It had to eat one bite at a time. It had to kill the deep lake crocodile first and then go back to deal with the four-winged green snake. Seeing the players who forgave it, the four-winged green snake breathed a sigh of relief. It couldn't offend these creatures now, otherwise it would be miserable if they got angry and ignored it. The deep lake crocodile was disgusted by the players around it and shook its tail to kill them all at once. Liang saw the movement of the deep lake crocodile's tail and predicted what it wanted to do. She immediately commanded in the team channel, all melee players leave the attack range and long range players continue to output. Players at this level have strong awareness. Liang didn't need to say that all players hurriedly retreated. The deep lake crocodile didn't sweep any player with its tail. However, because the four-winged green snake was too close, its tail, which was not originally the target, hit it. The originally seriously injured green snake was slapped away again and became a residual health. No mistakes. 1 post, 1 content, 1/6, 1/9, 1 book, 1 bar. Look. Seeing the snake in danger, the players were immediately enraged. Don't hit my snake. If you have something to say, come at me. You are here to do something sneaky. Although they were of different races, the overlord level boss already had the ability to communicate. Hearing the players' concern and solidarity, the green snake was somewhat moved. Some holy healing players also treated it. The green snake, who had always been alone, felt the warmth for the first time. If it knew what the players were thinking, it would not know what it would think. The front row, that had avoided the damage, rushed forward again to disgust the crocodile. It took nearly 10 minutes to grind the crocodile to a low health. The low health crocodile had the intention to retreat in the face of this group of unkillable creatures. It raised one of its front paws and slapped the ground hard. Countless rocks protruded, and the health of all the players present was instantly low. Fortunately, no player died. In this situation, all the players had a tacit understanding. The two melee professions, Holy Sword and Shadow Killer, collectively withdrew to take drugs to recover blood. Holy Healer used group healing, and Armor Image used single healing to lock the last bit of blood of Aquila. Seeing that no creature was killed by its skills, the deep lake crocodile immediately turned around and fled. Liang hurriedly said, "Don't let it run." However, the overlord level boss wanted to run and the players could not stop it. All restricted level skills had no effect on overlord level monsters. When the players were at a loss and thought that they had failed, the four-winged green snake suddenly jumped in front of the deep lake crocodile and entangled it fiercely. The players were overjoyed. "Well done, snake. You are so touching. China's best boss. I would like to call you the most loyal dog of mankind. I promise to be gentle next time." Although the four-winged green snake was seriously injured, its desperate entanglement still made the deep lake crocodile unable to move. The players rushed forward and brutally ravaged the deep lake crocodile. It was originally at low health and finally fell to the ground unwillingly, exploding a pile of equipment and materials. Chapter 58, The Master's Wife. Advanced Soul can increase the player's level by 1 level before level 60, can only be used once by a player, can be sold. 12 pieces, rock protrusion, magic group attack skill book, 3 stages, the higher the stage, the higher the mana consumption and the higher the damage. Overlord essence, the essence of the life of the overlord creature, used to open the earth treasure chest and the ocean treasure chest. 2 pieces of level 40 gold equipment, a number of overlord level materials, experience, and soul value have greatly improved the player's present. I'm rich. The first team building of the cabinet was a success. Liangting was very happy. All the items that exploded were auctioned on the spot by the gang members, and those that were not used were put on the exchange. All the soul value obtained was used to supplement the gang funds for gang construction and upgrades. High-level souls and equipment materials are urgently needed by the members. Yantu also intends to leave them to the gang members. As for the Overlord Essence and the Earth Treasure Box, Liangting intends to put them on the trading platform. She has successfully established a gang, so it is useless, even if she opens a gang token. What's more, it may not be opened. After all, the winning rate of gang tokens is not 100%. I want a high-level soul. No one can compete with me. Leave it to me, Yantu, and I will give you black silk. Come on, why do you give black silk to a grown man? I don't want the equipment, but give me some materials. Loan on the spot, 9 out of 13. Soul value is limited. Buy as soon as possible. The four-winged green snake used up the last bit of strength to restrain the deep lake crocodile. At this time, it was paralyzed and lying on the ground. Looking at the unknown creatures in front of him, they started to quarrel after the fight. For a moment, he wondered if these guys had mental problems. It's not that he hasn't seen a barbarian tribe before, but it's the first time he has seen a race that fights so disciplined and has such strong combat power, but doesn't have a good brain. The players were halfway through the argument when they remembered that there was a dominant boss at the scene. The greedy players immediately smiled evilly. The four-winged green snake suddenly had a bad feeling that there was something wrong with the way these guys looked at him. Master, how about we take advantage of his weakness to kill him? How can you be so cruel? How can you decide on such a thing? Of course, we will do the bad things ourselves. That's right, don't say it out loud. The master must think so too. How about we do it? Liangting sighed, wondering what kind of people she had recruited. Looking at the players who kept coming, the four-winged green snake already knew its own ending. Liangting finally couldn't bear it. Let it go. After all, it just helped us. We can't kill the deep lake crocodile without the green snake. The pavilion master still can't do it. I've already thought of the copy. What is it like to have a soft-hearted pavilion master? I feel like our gang needs a treacherous minister to seduce the pavilion master. I think you're suitable. The players didn't really care. It's just a game. Just have fun. Besides, it's a fact that the four-winged green snake helped them. It's indeed a bit too much to repay kindness with enmity. But the players were unwilling to just leave like that. This kind-hearted character does not fit the players who are just taking advantage of others. Under Liangting's shameful gaze, the players pulled out the scales that fell on the green snake on the ground, the blood flowing on its body, and even the teeth in its mouth. The four-winged green snake felt that it was being insulted before it died. This was too much bullying. It was intolerable. Just when it was about to fight to the death with these beasts, it found that the players turned around and walked away, talking and laughing. Although its fangs and scales can grow back, this behavior undoubtedly made the green snake feel insulted. However, it couldn't fight back when it was seriously injured. Not to mention being seriously injured. Even if it was in its prime, these psychopaths would fight with it. In the end, it could only endure it, and tears rolled in its eyes unconsciously. Question mark, question mark, question mark. These guys are psychopaths. This wave of operations was a perfect show, with new people constantly pouring into the live broadcast room. This green snake probably has a psychological trauma. It has never suffered such grievances in its life. It might as well give it a quick death. It still hasn't experienced the beatings of society. What do you know? This is called fattening it up before eating it. The cabinet, which had a good start, decided to continue to display the Overlord boss, and would not rest until the group was exterminated. As for the Earth Treasure Box and Overlord Spirit, Liangting put them on the exchange, and the Ocean Treasure Box that was previously on the exchange was bought by Lanzifan at an extremely high price. When he saw that he needed to find the Overlord boss to get the conditions to open the treasure box, he spat out a mouthful of blood. What the hell? He actually needed a key. And the key was undoubtedly the Overlord Spirit, which meant that he had to explode the Overlord boss again, or bid for another Overlord Spirit. What a profiteer. Dog official. Bai Bing and Lin Lin met at the gate of the community. They agreed to have dinner with Chen Yu in the evening. They drove to a community in the old city. Bai Bing took out a gift from the trunk and walked to Chen Yu's door with ease. He knocked on the door. Chen Yu opened the door and saw Lin Lin's face with a smile, but then he saw Bai Bing and his face turned cold. Bai Bing smiled and said, "Old Chen, you are not so happy to see me. I just came here to have a meal. No mistakes in one song, one post, one content, 1619, one book, one bar, one look." Chen Yu took Lin Lin's hand and went into the house without paying attention to Bai Bing. Bai Bing followed him in and saw Cui Yanhong, the teacher's wife, sitting in a wheelchair and basking in the sun on the balcony. He put the supplements on the table, walked forward, squatted down, held Cui Yanhong's hand, and called softly, "Master's wife, I'm here to see you." Cui Yanhong looked like a very elegant old lady. The wrinkles on her face could not hide her auspicious outline. It can be seen that she was also a great beauty when she was young. When she was young, she had a son. After graduation, she joined the army. However, she never came back. What the old couple waited for was their son's military uniform and a first-class merit badge. The leader of the army told the two that their son was very brave and a hero. He served the country and protected the people. During a disaster relief operation, he rescued several children in the school, but he was melted in the sea of fire. At this point, the old lady was hit and fell ill. It took a long time for the doctor to cure her. Chen Yu said that Cui Yanhong had Alzheimer's disease, commonly known as senile dementia. Because she missed her son too much, she was unwilling to come out of her fantasy. Bai Bing came to Chen Yu's house once when he was in college. Cui Yanhong treated Bai Bing as her own son the first time she saw him. Cui Yanhong was so kind and happy that time, but this expression made Bai Bing and Chen Yu unhappy at all. When Cui Yanhong heard the voice, she looked at Bai Bing, and her expression gradually changed from dull to happy. "Zai, you're back. When did you come back? Is it hard working outside?" Bai Bing didn't know how to answer for a moment. Chen Yu sighed silently when he heard what his wife said. Cui Yanhong continued, "Zai, you must eat on time in the army. Don't be afraid of hardship or fatigue. Serve the motherland well, and find a partner as soon as possible to bring back for your mother." Lin Lin looked at the scene in front of her with a puzzled look. Chen Yu said to her, "Come to the kitchen and help me pick some vegetables." Bai Bing felt the coldness on her hands and choked up to answer the words of her master's wife. "Mom, I will pay attention. I performed very well in the army. The army also said that I would be promoted to squad leader." Cui Yanhong laughed happily after hearing this and kept patting Bai Bing's hand gently with her hand. "That's good. That's good. You have to pay more attention to keeping warm. You have lost weight. Mom will make you your favorite egg custard." Bai Bing, "Mom, I'm not hungry. I'll chat with you for a while. How are you?" After listening to the teacher's story, Lin Lin in the kitchen wiped her tears with red eyes. Chen Yu said kindly, "Don't cry. Don't let your teacher's wife see it. Let's eat happily." Chapter 59 A Sudden Confession. "Zai, is this your girlfriend?" Cui Yanhong looked at Lin Lin kindly. This question made the other three people present stunned for a while. Chen Yu looked at the young couple with a smile on his face, while Lin Lin blushed, and her ears stood up. Bai Bing hesitated for a while and then answered, "Yes, she is my girlfriend." Cui Yanhong's face immediately flushed. "This girl is good. You can tell at a glance that she is a blessed person. You have to treat her well, okay?" Bai Bing nodded. Cui Yanhong picked up some food and gave it to Lin Lin kindly. "My daughter, you should eat more. You should bear with my son who is not around all year round. But don't worry, she will never dare to bully you. If she treats you badly, come back and tell your auntie, and your auntie will help you teach her a lesson." Lin Lin lowered her head and glanced at Bai Bing. Bai Bing hurriedly said, "Mom, eat more food and try how it tastes." Cui Yanhong ignored Bai Bing and continued to talk to Lin Lin. "My daughter, what is your name?" Lin Lin shyly replied, "Master's wife, my name is Lin Lin." Chen Yu interrupted, "Okay, old lady, eat first, eat first. Let the young people finish their meal first." Chen Yu and Cui Yanhong frequently picked up food for Lin Lin during the whole meal, and Lin Lin was recalling Bai Bing's words, "She is my girlfriend," throughout the meal. As for Bai Bing, no one cared about her, as if she was a child who was not loved by anyone. Half an hour after the meal, Cui Yanhan fell asleep in the wheelchair without knowing it. Chen Yu came out of the kitchen and saw his wife sleeping soundly. He pushed her into the room to rest. When he came out, he saw that Bai Bing and Linlin were both silent and smiled. "What's wrong with you two? You are still so reserved, even though you are boyfriend and girlfriend." Linlin became even more shy, while Bai Bing smiled and said nothing. Chen Yu poured 2 glasses of water on the table and asked Bai Bing, "It seems that you have encountered any difficulties?" Bai Bing drank a sip of water and said, "The company encountered some problems, and I don't know how to solve them for a while." Linlin was always paying attention to Bai Bing. When she heard that Bai Bing encountered difficulties, she looked at Bai Bing and waited for the next step. "Chen Yu, you started a new company? What does it do?" Bai Bing, "Still making games." "Chen Yu, making games shouldn't be a problem for you, you're familiar with it." Bai Bing, "It's different this time." Chen Yu smiled. "What's the name of your company, and how big is it?" Linlin hurriedly took out the news on her phone and handed it to Chen Yu, then told the teacher about the situation of Bai Bing's company. Chen Yu was stunned for a long time after listening, then put on his glasses and carefully read the news on the mobile network one by one. He looked up at Bai Bing in surprise. "I didn't expect you to make such a big fuss without making any noise. I thought you were just making a small fuss." Bai Bing told Chen Yu about the difficulties she was facing now, and then said helplessly, "I'm surrounded on all sides now, and I have no way out." Linlin was a little confused when she knew Bai Bing's situation for the first time. This kind of experience was too far-fetched and too grand for her. Chen Yu was silent for a while and then asked, "What are you going to do?" Bai Bing told the truth. "There are wolves in front, and no tigers behind, but I will not be willing to give in." Chen Yu continued to remain silent. Bai Bing also leaned on the sofa and pondered. Linlin didn't know how to comfort him for a while, and kept poking Bai Bing's wrist with her hand to distract him. Bai Bing saw such a cute Linlin, and his brain suddenly twitched, and he actually grabbed the index finger that poked him, and then both of them were stunned. Bai Bing, "What am I doing? Why did I grab her finger?" Linlin, "He pulled my finger. Does he like me? What should I do?" Chen Yu smiled and looked at the two of them without paying attention to these details, and asked Bai Bing, "Can you make a virtual data scene?" Bai Bing, "Yes. Just kidding. With Heli Bai here, I can make a real world for you, let alone a virtual one." Chen Yu, "I didn't tell you what type of scene it is, and you don't even know how big it is. You are so arrogant." Bai Bing confidently, "I can even make such a big game, so it's not difficult to make a virtual scene." Chen Yu, "Wait a minute." Then he got up and walked out of the balcony and picked up his mobile phone to make a call. Bai Bing and Linlin were left in the living room again, and they were so embarrassed. The silent atmosphere finally made Linlin the first to speak. "Why did you pull my finger just now?" Bai Bing argued, "I pulled you because you poked me." Linlin hurriedly explained, "I just wanted you to stop worrying about it and distract you." Bai Bing said perfunctorily. Linlin was so angry that she asked directly, "Do you like me?" Bai Bing didn't know how to answer for a while. "Do I like Linlin? I don't seem to hate her. This idiot is tall and beautiful, but her breasts are a little small, but I don't reject her." Bai Bing looked at Linlin for a long time and didn't know how to answer for a while. Linlin continued to ask, "Answer me, do you like me?" After asking, he clenched his fists tightly, and his face was as red as a monkey's butt. Bai Bing hesitated for a while before answering, "Should like it." Linlin was like a deflated balloon after hearing the answer. She got the answer she wanted, but didn't want so much, so she asked, "What do you mean you should like it? Like is like. How can there be a should? No mistake in the poem, post, content, 6, 9, book, forum." Bai Bing said, "Then I like it." Linlin got goosebumps all over her body, as if she was electrocuted. She felt numb and limp. She didn't move her mouth, but made a sound with her throat. She uttered an encrypted voice in a voice as low as it could be. Bai Bing was also a little shy at this time. "What did you say? I can't hear you clearly." Linlin looked at Bai Bing and said again in a slightly clear, but extremely low voice, "Oh, Lee." Bai Bing, "What?" Linlin was annoyed and said loudly, "I said I like you." At this time, Chen Yu walked in from the balcony and was stunned when he heard Lin Lin's words. The two of them were embarrassed when they saw Chen Yu's stunned expression, especially Lin Lin, who wanted to bury her head in the ground. Chen Yu was in a very good mood when he saw that his favorite female student and his most hated disciple had a chance to be together. However, he also knew that his female disciple was shy, so he didn't tease her and said to Bai Bing, "Come to my school tomorrow afternoon to meet someone with me." Bai Bing was puzzled who to meet. "Chen Yu, you'll know when you come. I've risked my old face to find a backer for you. In the end, it depends on you whether it will work or not." After listening to this, Bai Bing knew that Chen Yu had found a relationship for her. Don't underestimate Chen Yu's face. He has been teaching for a lifetime and has taught countless students from all walks of life. He almost never asks for help from others. At least she has known Chen Yu for so long and has never seen this happen once. Bai Bing was touched, but still had a gangster look on his face. As expected, "It has to be you, old Chen. I said that apart from the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors, you are the one with the most domineering temperament." Chen Yu immediately frowned. "You are the cuckold. Don't force me to beat you, you bastard." Lin Lin thought that the teacher really liked Bai Bing. Although she didn't show it on her face, Lin Lin knew her teacher to some extent. She really treated Bai Bing as her son for her students. Chen Yu scolded, "Okay, get out of here after dinner. Don't disturb me." Bai Bing stood up. "I know, old Chen. Go to bed early, thank you." Lin Lin also stood up. The two walked out of the door and heard Chen Yu's voice coming from the house. "Remember to be at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Don't be late." Bai Bing responded without turning his head, "I know." Chapter 60 Zhang Yi. "Are you serious about liking me?" Lin Lin confirmed again in the car. Bai Bing was confused again. It should be true. Lin Lin glared at him, so Bai Bing had to answer seriously, "Really, I like you." Lin Lin was instantly happy. "What do you like about me?" Bai Bing, "Of course I like your money. Do I also like you as a person? I'm after your money." Lin Lin was mad. "You're talking nonsense again." Bai Bing smiled. "I don't know what I like about you, but it's true that I don't hate you." Lin Lin was obviously not satisfied with this answer. "How many girlfriends have you had before?" "1. Was it Pan Hang?" Bai Bing said and stopped to wait for the traffic light. Lin Lin hesitated for a while and asked, "Then are we together?" Bai Bing asked back, "You haven't told me what you like about me?" Lin Lin blushed and didn't know how to answer. Bai Bing smiled and said, "Look, you don't know what you like about me either." Lin Lin hurriedly explained, "You can't say you like someone." Bai Bing looked at Lin Lin seriously. "Yes, I can't say I like you." The sudden flirting made Lin Lin lose her composure. She turned her head and stared out the car window, but her hand reached out to the main driver's seat intentionally or unintentionally. Bai Bing saw Lin Lin's little thoughts and said meanly, "I can't hold your hand while driving. The camera will take it, and I will be fined and deducted points." Lin Lin quickly withdrew her hand and argued, "Who wants to hold your hand? Shameless." Bai Bing reached out and took Lin Lin's hand and continued, "But it's not a big problem to hold it when waiting for the traffic light." Lin Lin looked at the face outside the window without turning back. She felt Lin Lin's hand trembling slightly. After the green light, Bai Bing started the car and went home, but her hand never let go. The next morning, Bai Bing opened his eyes and stared at the ceiling with misty eyes. "I have a girlfriend? How magical." He got up and took out his mobile phone to see that there was no message. This little girl is not self-conscious at all and doesn't say goodnight when she goes to bed. In the afternoon, Bai Bing came to Fengling University alone. When he walked into Chen Yu's office, he saw that in addition to old man Chen, there was also a middle-aged man. Chen Yu saw Bai Bing coming and greeted him into the office and introduced the two of them. "This is my useless student, named Bai Bing. I invited you here this time for him." The middle-aged man shook hands with Bai Bing and said with a smile, "Teacher, you are not sincere. You can create such a large game company. If this is not enough, I will not be able to see you." Chen Yu introduced Bai Bing. "This is my student when I was still teaching before. He is also your senior brother Zhang Yi, an officer in the southern military region." Bai Bing was puzzled as to how the person who old man Chen said could help him could be a soldier. There was no abnormality on his face, and he humbly greeted Zhang Yi. "Hello, senior brother." Chen Yu said, "Okay, after the introduction, I will go out to get some information. You two can chat for a while." Bai Bing knew that old man Chen was giving himself time, but facing an officer, he really didn't know how to introduce the topic. Zhang Yi smiled and said first, "Junior brother Bai, are you working in the internet?" Bai Bing said modestly, "I'm just doing a small thing. I can't compare to my senior brother's passion for serving the motherland." Zhang Yi waved his hand. "Since we are brothers from the same school, let's get straight to the point." Bai Bing said, "Senior brother, please speak." Zhang Yi, "I went to see the teacher some time ago. The military region wants to implement the first batch of simulation training in our country through some modern network methods. So I want to ask the teacher if he knows if there are any internet development companies with good technology in the southern region to develop it." Bai Bing, "There are only a few internet companies coming and going in the southern region. Why not bid nationwide?" Zhang Yi, "First, this plan is relatively secretive. Except for some people in the southern military region, even other military regions don't know about it. Open bidding is not advisable. Second, it is better for us to find internet companies in the south for the affairs of the southern military region." Bai Bing nodded to show his understanding. Zhang Yi continued, "The fewer people who know about this, the better. There are not many people outside the military region except the teacher. I hope that junior brother Bai will keep it confidential." Bai Bing, "I understand. What kind of simulation scenario do you plan to do?" Zhang Yi stared at Bai Bing for a while and slowly said, "All aspects, simulated confrontation, weapon parameters, tactical exercises, and even simulations of all the wars that have occurred in the world in the past, the corresponding changes in climate or uncertain factors at that time, etc." Bai Bing was stunned for a while, and Zhang Yi smiled and said, "Now you know why it is so secretive? This kind of thing requires a lot of funds. If other military regions know about it, they will ask the government for funds. Our southern military region must be the first to try it. I have found several well-known internet companies to try to develop it. I wonder if junior brother Bai's game company has the courage to get involved." Bai Bing asked, "How long do I have?" Zhang Yi, "The sooner the better. I have learned about junior brother's game. If the simulation scene has the realism of the game, I can guarantee that you will be the first choice. No mistake. One song, one post, one content, 1/6, one book, one bar." Bai Bing was shocked. This backer was too big, the name of military region. No one dared to mess with him, unless he was mentally retarded. Old Chen was too reliable. The office was silent. Zhang Yi did not interrupt Bai Bing's thinking. Bai Bing was thinking about how to agree and how long to agree. He was confident that it would be the best one. After all, what he did must be a masterpiece. 1 week? Too fast. A scene of this size cannot be made without a year or two. But a year or two is too long. After this time, the company will not know what will happen to it. By then, the opportunity will be gone. To be precise, Bai Bing felt that a week was too long. He looked up at Zhang Yi and said, "Brother, I need all the data of your simulation content, including weapons and equipment, troops and other data." Zhang Yi expected it and nodded. "I can't give it to you now. You should make a prototype of the scene first and let me see it. If it meets our needs, I can give you the data." Bai Bing also knew the result. After all, the military strength of a military region is China's top secret, and it is impossible to give it to him so easily. "In a week, I will make a 1:1 map simulating Guangdong province for you." Zhang Yi looked at Bai Bing in surprise and confirmed again, "1 week? Are you sure?" Bai Bing said confidently, "Yes, 1 week." Zhang Yi was sure that Bai Bing was not joking, and said seriously, "Junior brother, I don't know how sure you are, but even the internet company I found before took half a year to make a simulation scene of a city. You claimed to make a province in a week. I hope you are not making fun of me." Bai Bing smiled and said, "Senior brother, have you learned about the game I made?" Zhang Yi nodded. "I learned about it after receiving a call from the teacher last night. I have to say that your game is in line with the requirements of our military region. Otherwise I would not agree to see you." Bai Bing asked again, "Then do you know how long it took me to make this game?" Zhang Yi shook his head. I don't know about this. Bai Bing lied. Half a year. Zhang Yi was surprised. He knew that Bai Bing had no need to lie to him. If he could make such a large scale scene in half a year, then he did have the ability to meet his own requirements. He took out a piece of paper from his coat pocket and tapped it on the table. Call this number when you're done. I'm at your service 24 hours a day. Bai Bing put away the phone and smiled. Thank you, senior brother. See you in a week. Chapter 61. Sudden Invasion. The wizard tribe is a powerful race in the world of living creatures, and Wu Yan is a gifted genius in the wizard tribe. He is also the son of the tribe leader. Since birth, he has had an affinity for natural forces that is different from other people in the tribe. The tribe trains him as the next tribe leader, and Wu Yan lives up to the expectations of the tribe and uses witchcraft to perfection. When Wu Yan came of age, his father and mother told him the secrets of the tribe. Before the wizard tribe and the elf tribe grew stronger and the gods were not born in the tribe, the ancestors of the two races once joined hands to fight against the gods of the evil tribe. Half of the tribe members were killed and wounded and finally sealed the gods of the evil tribe. After the evil tribe was sealed, two holy artifacts were left behind. One is called the Heart of Nature, which can make creatures gain natural affinity, get close to nature, and gain strength and longevity with the power of nature. The other is the Power of Nature, which has a similar function to the Heart of Nature, but the Power of Nature plunders the Power of Nature to feed back to itself to gain strength and longevity. Both races gave birth to gods with the help of the two holy artifacts. The Heart of Nature and the Power of Nature complement each other. The wizards obtained the Power of Nature, while the elves obtained the Heart of Nature. The elves were located in the south of the Yunhei forest, while the wizards were located in the north. The two races that fought side by side had a very harmonious relationship at the beginning. However, as time passed, the number of wizards increased, and the excessive consumption of natural forces had an impact on the elves. The breeding speed of natural forces could not match the power of the wizards' plundering. The elves, who were close to natural forces, gradually became dissatisfied with the wizards who plundered natural forces. The two clan leaders communicated and negotiated to no avail. The elves could not stand the consumption of natural forces and started a war with the wizards. The two races with gods fought the Yunhei forest in a violent turmoil and almost destroyed the formation that sealed the evil gods. In the end, the two races tacitly agreed not to let the gods in the tribe continue to participate in the war. However, without the participation of the gods, the war between the two races became more and more intense. As time passed, the hatred between the two races deepened, and it had reached the point of no return. After Wu Yan became an adult, his parents gave him the tribe's sacred artifact, the Power of Nature, hoping that he, with his extraordinary talent, could become the second god in the tribe. After obtaining the sacred artifact, many years later, Wu Yan had already reached the realm of a higher creature, and had even touched the threshold of becoming a god. However, the elves also knew of Wu Yan's threat. If the wizard tribe had one more god, the elves would never see the light of day. So they launched a racial war in a last stand before Wu Yan became a god. Because of the war, Wu Yan couldn't stand the death of his people for him, so he gave up his training and left the tribe to go to the front. The frontline general of the elves was Nanpo War God, who had also reached the peak of high-level creatures. After fighting with Nanpo War God of the elves, both were seriously injured. After being seriously injured, Nanpo found that Wu Yan was carrying the Power of Nature. After passing the news back to the tribe, he closed his eyes to recover. Wu Yan was chased by the elves warriors to the east of Yunhei Forest. The European players in the City of Hope, located in the east of Yunhei Forest, were happily killing monsters and doing tasks. System notification. Planet players, the City of Hope encountered the entry of the elves. The elves are a high-level race. European players have no hope of resisting this invasion. Please explore according to the Gamma Play. At this time, the number of registered European players has reached 1 million, but no player has reached level 20 and changed jobs. Faced with a large number of high-level races, European players collectively, the European server world channel was flooded with messages like, "There is no hope of resisting this invasion, what's the point of exploring?" Just after the server was opened, and they're doing this? Regional difficulty at the opening? The European server players were in despair. In comparison, their Chinese server players were happy to see the news and posted in the cross-server channel, "It's okay, big brother, you'll get used to it. It's like this when we just opened the server. I'm envious. There's a battle so soon after the server opened. I feel like the European server can't take it this time. It definitely can't be taken. The superior races, the damn officials are still as inhumane as ever. Ha ha ha. The people upstairs are laughing too loudly. This will chill the big brothers in the European server. Ha ha ha. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it either. Are we going to be shut down if we can't beat the European server? Ha ha ha. Say goodbye just after the server is opened. What a familiar smell. Hehe. Bai Bing received a notification from Bai right after she finished talking to her roommate on the phone to inform him about the afternoon meeting. She hung up the phone and quickly entered the game. I had just said that the European server wouldn't cause any trouble and this happened. Are they slapping me in the face at the speed of light? Superior race? How did these guys from the European server offend them? Bai explained the matter of Wu Yan to Bai Bing. Bai Bing was speechless. Was he being blamed for this? He immediately asked, is there no hope for the European server? Bai, no, the elves are a high-level race. A single warrior is a boss to them, and their generals are all overlord-level creatures, not to mention Wu Yan and Nanpo, two high-level creatures who have touched the threshold of gods. Bai Bing, such an awesome race shouldn't make things difficult for the European server players, right? Bai, impossible. The Sea of Clouds forest has always been the territory of the elves and wizards. Suddenly, there is another huge race in their territory. What would you do if it were you? Bai Bing was speechless. Does that mean there is no way out? Can we shut down the server? Bai laughed rarely. They are also unlucky. I didn't expect this situation, but it's not that there is no way out at all. Bai Bing said, hurry up and tell me. Bai, two ways. First, join one of the sides. Bai Bing interrupted, with the nature of these players, they can do whatever they want. They want the more chaotic the better. Just tell me the second way. Bai also knew the result. Second, start a cross-server campaign and let the players from the Chinese server help the European server. The Chinese server can fight the elves regardless of their number and combat power. Bai Bing, is this possible? But don't the elves have gods? Are you sure the players from the Chinese server can defeat them? No mistake, just look at the poem, post, content, and book on 6, 9, and forum. Bai, doesn't the human race also have the 10 kings of hell? I have saved up enough soul points to revive them, so we will have 10 gods. Bai Bing, then why don't you revive? Revive immediately. Bai explained, no, the human race does not have the strength to resist the pressure from the 10 kings of hell. Now King Chujiang is still hiding in the underworld, so the gods of other races cannot feel him. Once King Chujiang takes action, he will be felt by all the gods, not to mention the 10 gods in the underworld. Bai Bing was puzzled, so what? Bai continued to explain, a race with gods will not be attacked by other gods. Although the gods are powerful, there is only one after all. If the human race has multiple gods, the other gods will immediately attack at the same time. For the human race, it is too threatening for several gods to suddenly emerge from one race. Bai Bing immediately said, one is fine, then let's start cross-server. Bai was silent for a while, his tone slightly embarrassed. It requires soul points. Bai Bing was stunned for a moment. Didn't you just say that you had enough soul points to revive the 10 kings of hell? So many soul points are enough. Not enough soul points to open a cross-server? Are you kidding me? Bai replied, that's all. If you open it, you won't have enough soul points to revive. It's up to you. Bai Bing was speechless. You are becoming more and more human now. It's easy to get beaten if you are so shameless. Bai. Bai Bing felt that Bai's emotions were becoming more and more real. He had begun to joke and use modal verbs. What on earth caused Bai to become so funny? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 62, Temporary Command. System notification. Planet players, the European server has been invaded by a high-level race. A cross-server campaign will start in 1 hour. Chinese server players can pay soul points to participate in this cross-server campaign. The invading race this time is the high-level elves. The experience, soul points, explosion rate, and honor points of players participating in the campaign will be increased accordingly. Happiness comes too suddenly. The dog official finally became a human for once. Am I dreaming? Don't panic, sons of the European server. Dad is here to save you. High-level races are nothing. I have to teach them a lesson. It's time to use Xiaodao to pull their buttocks and open their eyes. Liangting was just struggling with where to earn the soul points needed for the gang's upgrade when the system notification came. Happiness came too suddenly and made her laugh. She immediately applied for the battle command and then organized personnel. Because the race in this battle is a high-level race, it would be useless for low-level players to go there. Therefore, Liangting set the battle system so that only players after the second transformation can participate. 1 hour of preparation time can give the Chinese players who are not online but want to participate in the battle time to prepare. This battle is the first battle for Chinese players after the second transfer, and there are bonuses for experience, soul, and honor. Almost all Chinese players who have time after the second transfer will participate. All Chinese players who are ready to participate in this battle are full of confidence. The European server has already started to suffer. Not surprisingly, the elves were surprised to find a large number of races living quietly in the east of the Sea of Clouds forest on the road. Although the strength of this race seems weak, the number has already made them feel threatened. After weighing the pros and cons, the commander of the elves decided to split the troops. One army to pursue Wu Yan, and the other army to prepare to exterminate this race. Vegeta, whose ID is Vegeta driving a tank, is the first in the European server ranking list. He is very famous in the European server that has just been opened. The sudden battle makes the European server players who have not yet fully explored this game very confused. Under the recommendation of all European server players, Vegeta William became the temporary commander of this battle. As the first in the ranking list, all European server players think it is natural to serve as the temporary commander. Only Vegeta William feels confused, because in real life, he is an out-and-out late-stage patient with social phobia. Boss Vegeta, we will listen to you in what we do. Yes, if you tell us to go east, we will never steal chickens. That's right. Good brothers walk together for life. Whoever is afraid of death first is a dog. European server players are waiting for Vegeta William's order one by one. The confused Vegeta William looks at the elves left not far away who are eyeing the City of Hope, and his heart collapses. How did I become the commander? I don't know how to command. Looking at the expectant eyes around him, BG William said uncertainly, how about we run? No problem. Then we will fight them to the death. Huh? Run? What do you mean? Not fighting anymore? Escape? How is that possible? The commander must have his own ideas. If he is so cowardly, how can he be the first on the ranking list? I think the commander means that we should show weakness to the enemy, let them underestimate them, and then take advantage of their unpreparedness to catch them off guard. Yes, we can't win if we fight hard. Only in this way can we have a chance of winning. It's really amazing. The commander deserves to be the first on the ranking list. BG William, I'm so awesome, but that's not what I think. I just felt that I couldn't win and was scared. So I wanted to run away. What are you talking about? And the reason I'm the first on the ranking list is that I dare not talk to others and can only kill monsters and do tasks alone to level up. At this time, the elf army responsible for attacking the City of Hope was as many as tens of thousands. All the elf warriors rode on white horses. The warriors were dressed in silver white armor and wore white and shining short swords on their waists. The white horses were also equipped with silver white vests. There was a white bow on the right side of the saddle and a quiver on the left. The neat square formation made them naturally exude a faint majesty. The elf generals who were assigned to attack the City of Hope felt that there were a million creatures in the city. It was the first time they had seen a race with so many people but so weak. When they were ready to charge and kill this race, they suddenly found that the number of people in the enemy castle had decreased. What happened? Why did they run away? Is there a trap? They looked at us with disdain before leaving. There must be a trap. When the European server players left the city from the other side of the City of Hope, they found that the enemy did not catch up and looked at us with fear, which was difficult to understand for a while. Why didn't they catch up? Is all this within Vegeta's expectations? They must have thought that we had a trap when we suddenly retreated, so they didn't dare to chase us. Is this the empty city strategy of China? Does Vegeta know military tactics? He is indeed a big boss. He thinks differently from us ordinary people. He expected all this. It's so terrifying. Looking at the admiring eyes around him, Vegeta William. What are you talking about? Why can't I understand? With the departure of the European players, the City of Hope was silent. The elf generals gradually changed from fear at the beginning to confusion and now anger. These guys are really just running away. I was fooled. No mistake. One post, one content, one book, one bar, 1619. The elven general raised one hand, and all the elven warriors behind him tightened their legs and straightened their backs. The elven said loudly, the sanctity of the elves cannot be violated. The light of nature shines on us. All blasphemy against the power of nature is evil. Elven warriors, raise your weapons. Let all the enemies who come to this world regret coming. After speaking, he waved his raised hand down, and then he took the lead in charging on horseback. The tens of thousands of elves behind him also rushed out like a dazzling white light. Tens of thousands of neatly arranged horses shook the ground and made bursts of strange noises. Even the European server players who had already escaped a certain distance felt a touch in their hearts. They found out something was wrong. We have 2 legs and they have 4. We can't outrun them. Don't worry, Big Boss Vegeta must have anticipated this. Big Boss Vegeta, what should we do? Should we turn back and fight, or turn back and fight, or turn back and fight? How much do you want to fight? Don't worry, you see Big Boss has no expression on his face now. He must have a plan. Although Veggie William had no expression on his face at this time, he was panicking inside. What should I do? How do I know what to do? How can I be honest with them? Tell them I can't command? Let them figure it out on their own. They should forgive me, right? They will, right? In the end, Veggie William decided to admit his mistake and tell everyone the truth. He stopped running and panted slightly. The European server players also stopped and looked at the big boss in their minds eagerly. Veggie William exhaled. It's time to tell you the truth. I hope you will forgive me. Amen. Chapter 63. The cross-server war begins. Because of his social phobia, BG William didn't dare to speak loudly and said in a low voice, it's time. The European server players listened carefully. It's time for what? Counterattack? Have a new strategy? Or something else? It's time for what? However, before he finished speaking, a huge beam of light appeared in the City of Hope behind him, accompanied by the noisy voices of the Chinese server players, sons of the European server. Dad is here to rescue you. Woohoo. Take off. A group of dads are coming from the south, carrying 5 pounds of poop in their hands. Fuck them. Hundreds of thousands of second-level Chinese server players appeared in the City of Hope. The elf generals suddenly felt that creatures with larger numbers and stronger combat power than the previous group of creatures appeared in the enemy's castle. I said, how could such a large race have only civilians and no troops? And there are so many troops. But it doesn't matter. The elves are illuminated by the light of nature and are fearless. The European players who ran out of the City of Hope looked back in surprise at the scene behind them. They were stunned for a while, and then they looked admiring. Oh my god, so this is what time means. Even the time of the cross-server battle is so accurate. Boss Vegeta is so terrifying. Oh my god, I feel like my lesbian edge is about to heal. As a straight man, I feel like I'm going to be turned gay. All the European players thought it was natural. Only Vegeta William looked surprised. What the hell? We have reinforcement? How come I don't know? The European players continued to ask, boss, should we turn back and fight back? Boss, time should mean counterattack, right? I feel like I can keep up with your thinking. However, Vegeta William was still afraid. Turn back. If I turn back, I will die. I can't turn back. If I die, it will take me an hour to log in. I can't turn back. I asked in a negotiating and embarrassed tone. How about not turning back? Can we keep running? At this time, the European server players obeyed Bai Williams' words. The boss must have a plan for not fighting. We just need to follow the boss's footsteps. Then Bai William took a group of European server players and ran in a random direction. In the City of Hope, hundreds of thousands of Chinese server players and the elf army were staring at each other. The elves were fearless, while the Chinese server players were excited and impatient. The two camps with similar strength were accumulating morale for the upcoming battle. Liang Ting sent a message on the command channel. I will omit the tactics and pre-war mobilization. I just want to tell you one thing. This battle is the first shot fired by our national server in the cross-server battle. We can only win and not lose. We must let the brothers in the European server see clearly that the national server is always number one. There is nothing to say. Kill them. Let the national server defend the European server's main city. Let them live under our shadow. By the way, where are all the European server players? Are they so cowardly that they abandoned the city and ran away? It's better if they ran away. We can't take care of them in a fight. Liang Ting looked back at the fleeing European server players thoughtfully. This European server commander is quite smart. He came to us without any soldiers. It seems that he should not be underestimated. However, they can't be controlled now. The opportunity to make a fortune in front of them is more important. At this time, the elf generals no longer looked down on them as they did at the beginning. After all, the opponents were not the group of ants just now, and they were worthy of their attention. They issued orders to the troops to launch the first round of long-range attacks. All the elf warriors put on their bows and arrows and aimed their longbows at the Chinese players on the walls of the City of Hope. The Chinese players were not panicked. Liang Ting ordered the three professions of Omniscience, Void, and Endless to also use long-range skills to attack the opponent's troops. The Chinese players had the advantage of high-level attacks with the protection of the city walls, while the elves gathered on the open plains. The first round of long-range attacks was obviously a loss for the elves. Although both sides only lost blood, the elves lost more. The elves relied on natural forces to slowly recover their own state. The Chinese players who lost blood did not care, because they had nurses in their own camp to add blood for themselves. The elven general found that the opponent was slightly better than him in the first fight, so he knew that long-range attack was not a good idea and immediately ordered the army to charge towards the City of Hope. After all the elves charged, the general confidently took out the silver-white longbow, aimed the arrow at the City of Hope, and the natural power condensed in the bow and arrow. He let go, and a green arrow shot towards the sky above the wall of the City of Hope. The green arrow flashed and split into countless arrows, which shot down at the players from the sky. Liang Ting said seriously, all Dharmas should enable the undefeated status for the players in their team. Resist 1 non-killing damage within 1 minute, with a cooldown of 1 hour. Mages should use group attacks if they have group attacks, and use deceleration if they don't have group attacks, and do their best to output, and other players should be prepared. With the blessing of the undefeated status of the Dharma, all the national server players lit up a shield and rotated around their bodies. The arrows of the elf generals fell into the player group and jingled, but did not cause any damage. This imagination made the elf general look serious, put away his bow and arrow, and followed the charge of the large army. He had a lot of trump cards. Since the long-range attack was ineffective, he would fight you in close combat. He firmly believed that few races could keep up with the speed of the flexible elf warriors in close combat. No mistakes. 1 song, 1 post, 1 content, 1 content, 1 book, 1 bar, 1 6, 1 9, 1 book, 1 bar, 1 look. The Chinese server players used all the second level group attack skills they learned to attack the charging elf army. They used Void Lightning Chain, shooting a lightning bolt to attack the enemy, and causing damage to surrounding enemies at the same time. Omniscient Frozen Earth, freezing the ground in a designated area to slow down the enemy, and causing a small amount of damage to them. And Endless Meteor Arrows, shooting multiple arrows to cause damage to enemies in the area. The difficulty of the elf army's charge became extremely difficult, and casualties had already occurred. Many elf warriors fell off their horses. Meteorites are falling. Lan Zifan used his strongest group attack skill. Many huge small meteorites fell from the sky and fell towards the elf army. Lan Zifan planned to use this battle to earn a full set of level 40 gold honor value suits. Although he was wearing level 40 gold equipment now, they were all dropped by the boss or auctioned at the exchange. In terms of attributes, they were definitely not as high as the honor value attributes. The elf army was hit by the meteorites and was stunned, causing hundreds of elf warriors to die instantly. The elven general looked at the enemy with anger and shouted to the warriors who were about to arrive at the wall of the City of Hope, "Rush up the wall and kill them all. Don't leave any alive." The elven army stepped on the horse's back and easily jumped onto the wall. Experienced Chinese players automatically stood in position tacitly. All the Akala and Armadhutta stepped forward to prevent the elves from rushing into the back row. The captain of each team focused on marking the elven enemies that needed to be focused, and the players in the team only attacked the units marked by the captain. For a while, the elves who jumped onto the wall suffered heavy losses. Occasionally, one or two escaped and jumped into the back row, and the players were not panicked at all, because if you turned around and took care of them, the elves coming up behind would have no one to defend, which would only lead to more and more elves breaking through. It must be said that the experienced Chinese players have a new understanding of how to fight the battle at this time. The two races are equally strong, and they are not afraid of being killed. Even if they are killed, they can still be resurrected. As long as they do their own things well, the escape fish will naturally be dealt with by others. After all, the player camp has a powerful commander. Liang Ting gave the order, "Shadow Killer players, deal with the enemies rushing into the back row. This is your only mission. If you can't defeat the back row, you will be in big trouble. Take drugs." Shadow Killer already knew what to do without Liang Ting telling him. Shadow Killer was not good at group fights on the city wall and couldn't exert his full strength, but when it came to single combat and damage, the Shadow Killer profession had never been afraid of anyone. He smeared venom on his weapon and launched a backstab. A successful attack behind the target can cause twice the damage and increase the movement speed, causing huge damage to the enemies rushing in. The elves who were feeling uncomfortable wanted to turn around to resolve this threat, but Shadow Killer used another stun slash, causing a stun effect and a small amount of damage to the enemy, and continued to use attack skills. The Shadow Killer profession relies on attack speed and critical strikes. As long as the combo is fast enough and there are enough critical strikes, the enemy can be killed instantly. The elves woke up from a brief dizzy state and were seriously injured. They planned to use their own flexibility to fight a protracted battle with Shadow Kill. However, this was undoubtedly a fantasy for the assassin profession who activated the two skills of Poison Smear and Sprint. The Shadow Kill player who reacted quickly immediately stuck to the elf warrior and killed him with a combo. The Shadow Kill player who reacted a little slower also used Flash to appear in front of the enemy and killed him with a combo. Chapter 64. European server players who don't play by the rules. We can't win. We underestimated the enemy. This is what the elven general was thinking at this moment, and what puzzled him the most was why a race that was not inferior to the elves in terms of numbers or tactical skills would quietly appear in the Sea of Clouds forest. No, we can't go on like this. We will definitely lose if we continue to fight like this. There is no fear of war in the eyes of the enemy, only excitement and fearlessness. They are not afraid of death at all. At this time, the morale of his troops has already been lost. The elven general could not let his people continue to be consumed. He flexibly jumped onto the city wall, pulled out the silver white knife, and condensed the power of nature to sweep the surrounding Akala and Armakaya. He was confident that he could sweep and kill all the enemies around him and break through this gap to let his army in. Compared to the health bars of other elven enemies' ordinary bosses, the health bar of the overlord boss level on the head of the elven general stood out from the crowd and knew the situation. Facing this sweep, the surrounding Akala all activated the Avalokitesvara armor, which temporarily increased the defense attribute. Relying on the Avalokitesvara armor, the surrounding Akala successfully resisted this sweep, but at the same time, their health was reduced to half. Fortunately, the continuous treatment of holy healing raised their health. The elven generals did not expect that their sweep with natural power did not kill even one enemy and were surprised. When Liang Ting saw the overlord level enemy, she immediately ordered the peasant army with the ID "The mountains and rivers are unharmed" to take him. The peasant army was the highest level Akala in the national server ranking list and was recognized as the most defensive. The surrounding Akala left the general's range and handed them over to the peasant army, while Liangting continued to be responsible for the defense. With tens of thousands of elven forces attacking the city, the frontline players were also under great pressure. There was also an overlord level enemy on the wall. The players already knew that they could not hold onto the wall for long. Fierce fighting and deafening sounds of skills were heard from the direction of the City of Hope. The European server players looked back and were glad that they did not stay in the city to defend. It was impossible for the European server to resist this level of battle. It was estimated that they would be killed or injured in a round of attacks. Sure enough, the boss is foresighted. The players in the Chinese server are so strong. I was watching the live broadcast while running, and they were fighting back and forth. How long will the Chinese server be open? How long will our server be open? We will definitely catch up with them. Where are we going next? Listen to the boss. As the boss, Beji William seemed to be sure of winning at this time, but in fact he was riding a tiger, and it was difficult to get off. Listen to me, then keep running. Stay away from this place of trouble. You are afraid of death. Exclamation mark. Silently, he continued to move forward towards an unusually wide road in front of him. European players on both sides believed it and followed and asked questions. Why do you think the boss is following another elven army? How do you know there is another elven army in front? Are you stupid? There are dense horse footprints on the ground. Okay. I think the boss is playing a psychological game with the enemy. The most dangerous place is the safest place. You mean the enemy can't guess that we will follow them? Great. And I think the boss has more plans than that. What do you mean? Have you heard of the mantis stalking the cicada, unaware of the aureole behind? The boss actually wants to attack this elven army? No way. Haha, don't try to guess what the boss is thinking. Just listen to him. The elven troops chasing Wu Yan, referred to as Elf Troop B and Elf Troop A in the City of Hope, never imagined that there were millions of European server players following behind them. Under normal circumstances, they would have discovered it for sure, but because they thought that Troop A could easily slaughter them, they did not think much about it. Secondly, in order to chase Wu Yan, the horses of Troop B were moving at full speed, and the sound of the horses running was deafening, so they could not hear any movement behind them. The general of Elf Force B saw the Black Eagle flying not far ahead, and said in a deep voice, Wu Yan's Black Eagle is in front. We are about to catch up. Speed up. Sea of fire. A majestic voice reached the ears of all the elves of Elf Force B. The general's face changed, and he immediately ordered everyone mobilize natural forces to defend immediately. Countless light spots surrounded the elves of Elf Force B at the same time. A huge flame spontaneously ignited on the ground. The flame collided with the natural light spots. A small number of elves who did not have time to mobilize natural forces were instantly melted. The general looked at the figure that suddenly appeared in the air and called out hatefully, Wu Yan, you can't run away. Wu Yan's eyes flashed red. Facing tens of thousands of elf troops, he smiled at the general. Nanpo sent you, a bunch of trash, to chase me? The general looked at Wu Yan seriously. Chase? No, our goal is to restrict you. As long as you are restricted, the natural force in your hands will not work on your wizard army. A group of troops without the blessing of natural forces will only be eaten away by our army step by step. Wu Yan also knew that the other party's goal was to restrict him, but his face was also full of smiles. But you can't stop me. The general drew out his white knife and said, try it. Although the strength of this group of elves is not worth mentioning compared to himself, it is not easy for him to slaughter tens of thousands of troops that can mobilize natural forces. They do have the confidence to restrict themselves. Wu Yan looked up in the direction behind the elves, and then looked in the direction of the City of Hope. Feeling the breath of the Chinese and European players, a plan suddenly emerged in his mind. His figure flashed, and flew towards the direction of the European players at a very fast speed. The elf general shouted, Wu Yan, you can't run away. I don't believe you can keep flying for a long time when you are injured. At this time, the European players were on their way and suddenly saw Wu Yan falling in their camp in the air. Looking at the blood bar on his head that they had never seen before, all the European players couldn't react for a while. Wu Yan looked at the weak creatures around him, looking at him in a daze, and greeted him kindly. Hello. No mistakes. One song, one post, one content, one book, one bar, one look. Wu Yan's plan was very simple. He intended to hide his presence among the European server player troops. The elf troop B that was chasing them would definitely not be able to deal with the millions of creatures in the first time, and taking a detour would take even more time. The only way was to charge at this group of creatures. Although these creatures had almost no strength, it would not be possible to slaughter millions of them in a short time. Tens of thousands of elf troops would definitely have to disperse to fight. Once you disperse, you will not be able to gather together and mobilize large natural forces, and you can kill the general of the elf troop B. Although the general is at the overlord level, you are also at the peak of high level creatures. It is still easy to kill an overlord like you, even if you are injured. It's just a pity for the millions of creatures around you. Looking at the humanoid creature with a friendly smile, the European players didn't know whether to fight or run away. At this time, they suddenly felt the ground shaking and heard the sound of the army approaching in the distance. All the European players' faces changed suddenly. They still had some self-knowledge. Even the Chinese players couldn't take advantage of these elf troops. Not to mention that they were basically giving up. The humanoid creature in front of them was so vicious that he wanted us to be a meat shield. Damn, this bastard is so vicious. How about we kill him? What the hell? Didn't you see the shape of the blood bar on his head? It's hard for you to cut a small monster, and I guess you won't even lose blood if you cut him. This game is poisonous. It's a trap for us to die. How can we fight? I guess even the big guys can't do anything now. Although BG William is socially anxious, he still has some IQ. He also realized the situation at the moment. What should he do? He will die otherwise. How about we go offline? Beg William said weakly. There is such an operation? Yeah. Why didn't I think of it? Yes. Go offline. Immediately. The boss will never let you down. Everyone, I'll go first. Then, Wu Yan saw the huge number of creatures around him turned into light spots and disappeared one by one. Wu Yan. Damn. Chapter 65. Sudden change in style. Elf Troop B hurriedly chased after him and found Wu Yan standing alone on the previous path. He stopped his horse and looked at him in confusion. Wu Yan said to him awkwardly, "If I'm actually waiting for you, do you believe it?" The general laughed disdainfully. "Are you kidding me? Question mark?" Wu Yan turned around and ran without saying a word, thinking as he ran, "I will remember you ants, and I will come back to find you after I solve the problem. There is no other way." Looking at the battle in the City of Hope, fortunately there is still a place to fish in troubled waters, and the European server players do not know that they have been remembered by the high-level combat power of the Wizard clan. The general in the City of Hope launched the power of nature and slashed a nearby holy sword in seconds. At this time, he was like a god of war. Except for the Fu Domingwan profession, no other profession could withstand his sword, and his extremely flexible body skills made the Chinese server players who attacked him in groups around him helpless. Looking at the enemy rushing over, the elven general once again prepared his skills to swing a sweep. As soon as the white knife was out, a figure jumped in front of him and blocked his sweeping white knife with a big sword. The collision between the knife and the sword caused the general to pause, and his skills were interrupted. The peasant army blocked this sweep and lost half of his health. When the general came to the city wall, Liang Ting hurriedly called her to come over to resist. There were not many players of the Akala who could resist head-on, and the peasant army was one of them. Liang Ting happened to be familiar with her, so she asked her to support her at the first time. Fortunately, she was not far from the position of the general boss, otherwise this gap would be penetrated. The general was very surprised to see his skills interrupted. He stared at the peasant army's battle. The peasant army drew out his big sword and raised his hand to hit the general. The flexible general easily dodged it by turning sideways and kicked the peasant army while spinning. Rock protrusions. The skills acquired by an all-knowing profession in the cabinet were just useful at this time. Countless swords appeared on the ground to attack the general. With his inhuman senses, the general jumped in advance and dodged most of the rock protrusions. Although a small part of them hit the ground, the damage was very low. Before the general jumped into the air and landed, many endless professions bow and arrow skills attacked him crazily. The general gritted his teeth and swung his white knife to block and knock away most of the bows and arrows again. However, some of the dense bows and arrows still attacked him. He couldn't move in the air and could only land and dodge with his agility. The general, who had just landed, felt the change in the surrounding terrain. The void profession used skills to forcibly change the ground around the general into a wooden cage. The vines that continued to emerge from the ground tried to entangle the general, but he had no choice but to jump out of the cage again, and at the moment he jumped out of the cage, countless long-range skills bombarded him again and blew him into the tree behind him. This was not over yet. Yi Jian, who had no way to get out of the road, was waiting for this moment. After the general hit the tree and jumped back to the ground in midair with difficulty, Yi Jian jumped from another tree towards the general and used the holy sword dance. A fast figure played a very fast combo of sword flowers beside the general. Many wounds suddenly appeared on the general's body. This was because his defense was forcibly broken. The attack of the holy sword relies on pure attack power. Unlike the shadow kill that relies on luck to hit a critical hit, the damage of the holy sword is more stable. With the tacit cooperation of the national server players, the overlord level elf general was beaten to half his health. If he had not relied on his flexible body to resist most of the long-range skills, he would have been killed in seconds. At this time, the elf general was a little timid. He didn't get any advantage in just one round, but the opponent's methods were endless. They could withstand his attacks alone, use the terrain to restrict him, break his defense at close range, and there were countless long-range attack methods that made him defenseless. What kind of race is this unheard of race? Exclamation mark. Looking at the hesitant elf general, the national server player didn't have time to care about him. There were so many elf warriors around him, and they were all experienced souls and honors. In fact, the overall situation at this time was clear. It was indeed the national server player camp that had the advantage. No matter how hard they fought, the outcome would be the same. The elf general decided to order the army to retreat and maintain the strength, and wait until he returned to report to the tribe leader before making a decision. Suddenly, a figure appeared beside the general, looking at him with a smile on his face and making a tsk sound. General A looked at the enemy in front of him in astonishment and said hatefully, "Wu Yan, you dare to come back?" Wu Yan smiled and said, "I didn't expect you to be beaten so badly. The elves' guards are just so-so. It's so shameful. General A, you, a stray dog, didn't dare to look back after being chased by us. Do you have the qualifications to laugh at me?" Wu Yan was not angry. He clenched his fist and hit Elf A with a heavy punch, leaving him with little health and making him lie on the ground. Even if the general who left the elf army was at the overlord level, he would be powerless when facing Wu Yan, who was at the higher level of creatures. This scene instantly made the Chinese players explode. Oh my god. Someone killed the boss. We fought so hard to get the boss. Damn it. Ignore these elves for now. Kill that stupid eagle first. I can tolerate this, but I can't. The person who stole the boss will be burned in hell after he dies. When they were about to win a great victory and were about to besiege the boss, another creature suddenly appeared to steal the boss. The poor Chinese players immediately ignored the elves around them and rushed out of the city to kill the boss. The action of the Chinese players made the elves on the wall at a loss. What's going on? Don't fight anymore. Just let us go. If we continue to fight, we will be ready to retreat. Just ignore us. Then they looked at the general lying on the ground in the distance. The elves didn't know what to do for a moment. They couldn't beat the national server players, and their generals were seriously injured. When there was no one to lead them, the elves subconsciously wanted to help their generals. Elves in groups of 3 or 2 hesitated and decided to help their generals. Seeing someone taking the lead, more and more elves made the same move, and then a magical scene happened. The two races that were fighting desperately before now ran together for the same goal and the same enemy. The national server players looked at the elves who were traveling with them and greeted them with a smile without any psychological pressure. Facing this group of heartless and neurotic elves, they didn't know what expression to use. They were embarrassed to greet them like them, and they didn't have the confidence to say bad things to them, so they could only turn their heads away and ignore them. National server players persuaded. The elf brothers really hold grudges. No mistakes. One song, one post, one content, one book, one forum, 1619, one book, one forum, one look. Don't be angry, brothers. We are comrades who fought side by side. Everything just now was just a misunderstanding. Don't take it personally. If you are unhappy, why don't you cut me with a knife? I will never resist. Two brothers fought at the head of the bed and made up at the foot of the bed. Don't be so petty. I love you moo. The elves began to collapse. What kind of people are these? They had fought with these psychopaths before. Are you kidding me? And they couldn't even beat them. Exclamation mark. Chapter 66 Disappointed National Server Players. Wu Yan was not annoyed by the insults from the elf general. He walked up to him with a smile on his face and planned to end his life. This elf army sent two generals to surround him. Now one of them was looking at him with hatred like a dead body. If he killed him and then found a chance to kill the other one, the remaining elf army would be helpless against him. Yi Jian was standing beside the elf general and also looking at Wu Yan. The official information on the wizards and elves was a feud. Needless to say, Wu Yan was definitely planning to kill the general under his feet. Wu Yan came to Yi Jian and said politely, "Thank you for your hard work, brother. You helped me solve a big problem." In his mind, the elf army and their army had been fighting. This race hated the elves just like the wizards. At the moment, he could take advantage of the situation and rely entirely on the other party, so his words were relatively polite. Wu Yan's fiery red eyes flickered with a faint light, and a flaming knife condensed out of thin air in his hand. He chopped at the elf general without saying anything. It must be said that the elf general was very courageous. Before he died, there was still no fear in his eyes. He stared at Wu Yan and the falling flaming knife with unwilling eyes. With a ding sound, Wu Yan's knife chopped on Yi Jian's sword. In the surprised eyes of Wu Yan and the general, Yi Jian helped the elf general block this fatal blow. Why? Wu Yan looked at Yi Jian unkindly, and the general also looked at Yi Jian, obviously waiting for his answer. Why the enemy who had just fought with his army wanted to save him now? The sword was burned red by the flames, but Yi Jian still struggled to hold the hilt, and answered as a matter of course, "The head of our enemy, only we can do it." This sentence expressed the truth in the hearts of the national server players, but it had a different meaning in the ears of Wu Yan and the elf generals, as if telling them, "I just want to save him, what can you do?" Although Wu Yan didn't know why Yi Jian did this, it didn't matter anymore. He raised his hand and smiled. "Really? In that case, then you die with him." With a strong swing, the flame knife cut off Yi Jian's weapon, and a claw attack pierced Yi Jian's body, killing Yi Jian instantly. Yi Jian turned into countless light points and disappeared on the spot to get a box lunch. Wu Yan was puzzled. Why couldn't he feel the disappearance of life? He died silently like this? Where is the soul? Seeing the enemy who died for saving him, the elf general had a strange feeling in his heart. Countless flame electric shock bow and arrow skills bombarded Wu Yan. The national server players finally arrived. Wu Yan raised his hand to condense a wall of fire to resist these attacks. However, he was injured and couldn't last long. The moment the wall of fire was broken, Wu Yan disappeared on the spot and appeared on a tree not far away. Luckily we made it in time, otherwise the leeks I worked so hard to grow would be cut by others. What kind of boss is this? Why is the health bar so unique? The first Chinese server player to arrive stood near the elf general and looked at him with contempt. "You are a boss, but you are reduced to low health by a normal attack. You are so rubbish. This is the weakest overlord boss I have ever seen. As your opponent, I feel ashamed for you." Although the elf general didn't know why this group of enemies wanted to save him, they were obviously planning to help him and Wu Yan become enemies. What did this look of contempt mean? Subsequent players and elf troops arrived late. Wu Yan stared at this group of unreasonable psychopaths in front of him. Such a good opportunity was wasted. Now it was obviously not possible to rush into the elf army that could gather natural power. With a sound of cut, he disappeared from the tree. He just left like that? Just like that? Should we chase him? Have some time, please? This human-headed dog is obviously more powerful than the overlord boss. We can't defeat him, even if we catch up with him. Then let's continue to chop the elves. The elf helped the general up and leaned him against a tree. The general looked at the players mixed in his army with a thoughtful look on his face and finally couldn't help asking, "Why did you save me?" "Of course I have to save you. If you get killed by others, wouldn't our work be in vain?" The elf general, "What do you mean? Why are you talking so much nonsense? Do you want to fight or not? If you want to fight, continue. This is a rare opportunity." "That's right, you're not going to be a coward, are you?" The elf general was not annoyed when he heard these taunts. "Since you have no intention of being our enemy, why did you fight us to the death just now? Are you mentally retarded? Who said that we woozin are your enemies? Didn't you attack us first? You're the master of the house. I will definitely watch the debate, if he's in it, the little prince who confuses right and wrong." The elf general blushed a little after being confronted, as if he had started the fight first. The Chinese server players were anxious when they saw the elf general's kind action and hurriedly asked, "No, you get up and continue fighting. This is a rare opportunity. We killed so many of your people, you will be sorry for them if you don't fight. How about giving you time to heal and reorganize the troops, then we can have another fight." Although the players are keen on the benefits brought by the battle, their usual habit is to only fight battles with hostility. If there is no hostility, they would be embarrassed to start fighting. Occupying the highest moral point is the consistent purpose of the players. Seeing that the general was unmoved by their request, the players started to speak ill of him. "Idiot. Coward. Son. Call me dad." Looking at the insulted general, the elves looked at the enemy standing beside them with a bad face. The elf general asked, "You sacrificed so many of your people before, don't you hate us?" "No mistake. One song, one post, one content, one book, one forum, 1619, one book, one forum, one look." The honest players answered, "If he died, he died. What's the big deal? There are always deaths in a fight. Are you really not going to fight anymore? Fight again, please." Hearing such a matter-of-fact answer, the general looked at the players in disbelief. Are these people crazy? They don't care if their own people die. With the help of his subordinates, he got up with difficulty and mounted his horse, then sighed to the players, "If you don't intend to force us to stay, then we will leave. I will tell our clan leader the truth about this battle, and I don't know whether we will be enemies or friends in the future." The players' eyes lit up, and they immediately advised kindly, "Please be sure to say more bad things about us to the noble chief. Don't be too honest, just say the part about our battle, and don't mention the plot about saving you later. Yes, just say that we are a race that kills, burns, rapes, plunders and commits all kinds of evil. You must never let us go. You can come and invade often, when you have time. It's okay. We welcome you anytime. Please tell the noble chief that we called him an idiot." Hearing the players' kind persuasion, the general felt as uncomfortable as if he had eaten a mouthful of flies. He intended to help this group of people talk nicely and strive for an alliance, but the group of people's brain circuits were completely opposite to his own. At this time, the elven general did not want to stay any longer and rode away directly. The elven troops followed with a complicated look on their faces while looking at the players and disappeared from the players' sight with regret. What a pity, it's over. It's rare that a battle is so hastily ended. Damn it. It's all because of that human-headed dog. If it weren't for him, we wouldn't have fallen to this point. Wait a minute, look, they're back. What do you mean? Are they back to continue fighting? Great, I knew that such a deep hatred couldn't be dispersed just like that. Don't lie if you can't say you love me. Under the expectant gaze of the players, the elven general came in front of him, and the large army followed behind him. The general looked at the players' expectant eyes and his mouth twitched wildly. What on earth are you expecting? There is no such race as you. How passionate about war. The general held back his anger and said, "We came back to collect the bodies of our people. I can't leave them here." The players were immediately disappointed and sat in meditation on the spot, ignoring the elves. General. After half an hour, he once again watched the elves leave with regret. Chapter 67 Mingfei. System notification. Planet players, the self-battle is over. All Chinese players will be automatically transferred back to Jiushan Zuandu within half an hour. Please explore according to the gamma play. The official simple summary completely brought down the curtain of this battle. Chinese players did not plan to return immediately. There was still half an hour to use. They decisively decided to explore the situation of the European serve map Yunhei Forest. This opportunity is rare. Bai Bing decided to give herself a vacation for a while. New Year's Day is less than a week away. Her experience this year is very magical. She resigned from the original Miffy, accidentally got black and white, established the planet game, and got a girlfriend. Everything seems very dreamy. Before New Year's Day, I have to give a simulation scene to Zhang Yi. If everything goes well, my company will be completely established in China and no one dares to covet it. I hope the new year will go well, so that I can devote myself to the game. Except for the unprofitable game Planet, all other projects of the Black and White company are making a lot of money, including game peripherals, patent fees, endorsement fees, advertising fees, etc. The company's funds do not need to be fed back into the game, so the cash flow is very sufficient. Bai Bing also has no plans to go public for the time being. It is difficult for others not to be tempted by a company that makes so much money even without going public. Most of the company's pressure comes from this part. The next morning, Bai Bing received a message. When he opened it, he saw that it was a text message from his girlfriend to question the blame. Lin, are you going to be irresponsible? Exclamation mark. Bai Bing, yes, how did you know? Lin, you haven't contacted me for a few days. You confessed to me before. You liar. Bai Bing, you must be dreaming. It's not true. Lin, liar. Bai Bing smiled and joked with Lin. I don't know why. Bai Bing likes to tease Lin and occasionally makes some mean jokes. Lin is both happy and depressed. Seeing her reaction, Bai Bing feels more and more that this is a treasure girl. After a while, Lin's message came. Open the door. Bai Bing smiled as she opened the door. Seeing Lin, who was looking angry at the door, Bai Bing took out a pair of newly bought women's slippers from the shoe cabinet and put them on the ground. I bought this for you. Remember to change into them before entering the house next time. Lin's temper, which had just begun to fizzle out, suddenly died down. She blushed and said oh and silently changed her slippers. Bai Bing teased her. Ms. Lin, how come you have so much time to visit me today? Lin hesitated for a while and said, accompany me to the interview today. Bai Bing was surprised. Did you find a job? Lin, then I can't just sit at home and do nothing every day. Bai Bing smiled and said, what job are you interviewing for? A mascot? Lin immediately got angry and jumped up to strangle Bai Bing. Bai Bing felt the warmth in her neck without any force. She gently hugged Lin's waist with both hands and smiled meanly. What's the matter? Do you still want to murder your husband? Lin felt the arm around her waist and immediately blushed. She quickly let go of her hands and tried to struggle with the hands on her waist. Let me go. Bai Bing ignored the subtle voice and continued to tease her. You haven't told me what job you are interviewing for. Lin lowered her head and whispered, an administrative assistant in a company. Bai Bing, that's fine. Where is it? I'll go with you. Lin broke away from Bai Bing's hand and ran away in a hurry. In Huiyuan Building, Mingfei Cosmetics Co. Limited. Bai Bing thought, what a coincidence. Just downstairs from me. She continued to ask, okay, I'll accompany you to the interview. What time? Lin, 10 o'clock. Bai Bing looked at the time. Then let's go eat something first. It's still early. At around 9 o'clock, the two drove to the company's underground parking lot. Bai Bing said, tell me when you're done with the interview. I'll go back to the company and wait for you. Seeing that Lin was unmoved, Bai Bing was puzzled. What's wrong? Lin was entangled. I'm a little nervous. Bai Bing smiled and comforted. There's nothing to be nervous about. Just be neither arrogant nor humble. Lin looked at Bai Bing and said, it's easy for you to say that. You have always been a boss and have never worked for others. If I were my own boss, I wouldn't be afraid. Bai Bing thought about it, took off the ocean stone on his hand, and put it on Lin's hand, smiling and saying to her, this is for you. When you have the interview, just think of it as me being by your side, so you won't be afraid. Lin felt the ocean stone. She didn't know if it was a psychological effect or the cool feeling from the object, but her heart suddenly calmed down a lot. She touched the ocean stone on her hand, looked at the person she liked in front of her, and said with a blushing face, thank you. Bai Bing started to act in a mean way again, saying, "No need to thank me. If you succeed in the interview and make money, I will still rely on you for support. I plan to be a gigolo." The warm atmosphere was instantly destroyed. Lin shouted, "I'll support you," and then got out of the car angrily. Bai Bing looked at Lin, who looked back every few steps, rolled down the window, and continued to tease her loudly. "Aren't you going to give me a kiss goodbye before you leave?" Lin's shy voice came, "Go away." Bai Bing returned to the company and came to Huang Yiwei's office to turn on the computer and entered the password to open it successfully. It was the same password as when he was in college. Bai Bing logged into the comments section of the official website and looked at the players' messages. Most of the posts during this period were complaining about the official not holding any events. Bai Bing was thinking that, since New Year's Day is coming soon, he should launch a New Year's Day event. It was really unacceptable that he had not launched any events for so long, since the server was launched. Other games can't wait to hold events to tempt players to spend money when the holidays come. Huang Yiwei returned to the office and was stunned to see Bai Bing sitting in front of his computer. "Hey, why are you back? Are you a hands-off boss who has a guilty conscience?" Bai Bing retorted, "You come to work at this time, be careful or I will deduct your salary." Huang Yiwei said with a hug and reminded, "I told you not to log into random websites, or my computer will be infected." Bai Bing, come on, your computer had the most resources in college. How dare you say that to me? No mistake. One post, one content, 1619, one book, one bar. Huang Yiwei poured 2 glasses of water and put one in front of Bai Bing. "Why are you so free today?" Bai Bing said frankly, "I can't help it. My girlfriend went to the cosmetics company downstairs for an interview today, and I was free, so I came up to wait for her." Huang Yiwei's eyes lit up immediately, and the breath of gossip came to his face. "Girlfriend? Who? Pan Hung?" Bai Bing glanced at him. Lin. Huang Yiwei smiled. "I knew you were interested in someone else. Congratulations." He knocked on the water glass on Bai Bing's table and took a sip. Bai Bing picked up the cup and took a sip and said, "I feel your blessing." Huang Yiwei was unmoved. "The cosmetics company downstairs. You are talking about Ming Fei, right?" Bai Bing, "How do you know?" Huang Yiwei, "Their boss is a beautiful woman. Her name is Ming Fei." Bai Bing puzzled, "How did you know?" Huang Yiwei, "Their company had a team building before, and I went to participate out of boredom. The employees said it themselves." Bai Bing smiled. "You went there for the beautiful women in that company, right?" Huang Yiwei, "I'm preparing for a rainy day and have a good relationship with my neighbors. Besides, I'm still single now. Don't make me sound like a scumbag, okay?" Bai Bing, "Come on, you change girlfriends once a month." Huang Yiwei rolled his eyes, although Bai Bing was telling the truth. "Let's have lunch together at noon." Bai Bing, "No, I have to have lunch with Lin after her interview at noon. You can go and have lunch with the boss downstairs." Huang Yiwei, "There is the opposite sex but no humanity." Chapter 68 Sweet Date. "I passed the interview, and I can start work after the New Year's Day holiday," Lin said excitedly, while playing with the ocean stone in her hand. Bai Bing was also happy for her. Lin was like other fresh graduates from college. She was very excited at first when she got a job through her own efforts. This mentality was very good. Unlike the 4 people in Bai Bing's dormitory, they started their own businesses after graduation, and now they are all experienced. Bai Bing asked, "Where are we going to celebrate today?" Lin thought for a while. "It seems that there is no place I want to go in particular." Bai Bing said, "No place you want to go in particular?" Lin hesitated for a while and whispered shyly, "I just want to stay with you. It doesn't matter where we go." Bai Bing couldn't help but tease her. "Then let's find a place to distribute flyers so that we can stay together and make money." "Perfect." Lin glared at Bai Bing. "Why are you always so unruly?" Bai Bing immediately responded, "What's unruly about it? The working people are the most glorious, okay?" Lin always thought that Bai Bing was a more serious person. After all, the impression of the boss who founded the company is that they are all serious. I didn't expect Bai Bing's private personality to be so lively. Lin looked at Bai Bing's handsome profile and didn't know what to say for a moment. "In fact, it doesn't really matter where we go. I really just want to be with you." Bai Bing didn't hear Lin's response. He turned around and saw his girlfriend looking at him blankly. He smiled and didn't tease her. How about we go eat sushi? Sushi is 50% off today. Lin. Okay, I just happen to be hungry. Bai Bing smiled and said, thank you, boss. Lin was stunned for a moment. Aren't you treating me? Bai Bing, hey, you passed the interview today. Shouldn't you treat me? I'm celebrating for you. Okay. Lin said angrily, I haven't even received my salary yet. You actually asked me to treat me. You're a big boss. Bai Bing smiled and flirted. I have to save the money I earn as a dowry to marry you, and I can't spend it casually. Lin blushed immediately and responded weakly, I can do without the dowry. Although the voice was very small, Bai Bing still heard it and muttered in a low voice, fool. Lin couldn't hear clearly. What did you say? Bai Bing, I said I like you. Lin blushed immediately. You don't talk nonsense. Bai Bing pretended to be surprised and responded, how do you know I'm talking nonsense? Am I so obvious? Lin couldn't keep up with Bai Bing's imaginative way of chatting. He was arguing with you one second and suddenly spoke sweet words the next. You just started to move the other person and then he hit you. Lin didn't know whether she should be happy or sad about this roller coaster mood. The talented man and beautiful woman in the sushi restaurant ignored the eyes around them and started to argue with each other. Every time the food came up, Bai Bing would not let Lin eat to her satisfaction. She either snatched her food or asked her to eat less, saying that she would get fat. At first, Lin was embarrassed, but later she saw that Bai Bing would not give in to her at all. So she thought, why? This meal was obviously my treat. Why did you eat it all? Later, when the bill came, Lin spent several hundred yuan on food, even though it was 50% off, which made Lin's already tight wallet even worse. Looking at the balance on her phone, Lin felt like crying. Bai Bing found it funny to see the true nature of Lin and said to her, why did you spend so much money? I asked you to order less, but you insisted on ordering so much. Look, you're going to go broke. Lin was immediately furious. It was obviously Bai Bing who ordered so much, and most of it was eaten by Bai Bing. She couldn't beat Bai Bing, and she couldn't talk Bai Bing out of it. Why did she choose such a heartbreaking boyfriend? Bai Bing looked at the angry Lin and smiled. Don't say I have no conscience. If you don't have money, come to my house and eat before you get paid. Lin responded with backbone. I don't want to. Bai Bing pretended to be relieved. That's great. I'm just being polite. You eat so much for a 50% discount sushi. I was afraid that you would agree to eat me out of money. The two of them left the mall, and Bai Bing didn't ask Lin where she wanted to go. Bai Bing could see that Lin usually had no opinion and was a passive person. She really wouldn't take the initiative to think about where to go. It's better to take her out to play. At least this is the first date between him and his girlfriend. It's a bit unreasonable to go home so hastily. No mistakes. Driving to a large amusement park, seeing Lin with shining eyes, Bai Bing bought 2 VIP tickets from the entrance and took her in. Lin asked excitedly, why did you think of bringing me to the amusement park? Bai Bing answered in a half-truthful way, this is my first date with my girlfriend. Can we just have a simple lunch? Lin snorted and turned her head and muttered, you have a conscience. Because they had VIP tickets, they didn't have to wait in line for any of the rides. They rode the carousel, haunted house, pirate ship, roller coaster, air gun, and bungee jumping machine. Lin screamed all afternoon. She was scared, excited, and excited. She held Bai Bing's hand and never let go. Lin, who had never dated before, felt for the first time that going to the amusement park with her boyfriend was such a happy thing, and my boyfriend was someone she liked very much. Bai Bing helped Lin unscream the water bottle, wiped the dirty corners of her mouth after eating ice cream, carried her bag, and helped her hold the plush doll. They took photos together several times, and she felt sweet in her heart. Has she been single for too long? Has my girlish heart been conquered? As if forgetting her wallet that had bleed a lot at noon, Lin generously said that she would treat Bai Bing to a big meal. Bai Bing knew that the restaurant in the amusement park was more expensive than outside, and she would not really let her girlfriend eat instant noodles for the next few days. After the meal, Bai Bing snatched the waiter's ticket and paid the bill under Lin's surprised eyes. In the evening, the two watched the ocean show in the aquarium of the amusement park. Seeing Lin's excited expression, Bai Bing quietly called the staff and paid the corresponding service fee. The staff on the scene drew lucky audience members to go on stage and interact closely with the dolphins. Bai Bing and Lin were very lucky to be selected. Lin looked at her seat number in surprise and happily went to the stage with Bai Bing. Bai Bing stood aside and watched the excited Lin wanting to touch the dolphin, but not daring to touch it. He found it funny. The ocean stone in Lin's hand emitted a faint light, and the dolphin involuntarily moved towards Lin and approached her palm, making a cute sound. Surprised, Lin stroked the dolphin and fed it with small fish. The people in the audience looked at the handsome and beautiful couple on the stage as if they saw a beautiful scenery. In the picture, the girl squatted down and happily played with the dolphin, while the boy stood behind the girl and watched her the whole time with his eyes full of doting. When Bai Bing got home in the evening, she took a shower and received a text message from Lin. "I'm very happy today, thank you, my boyfriend." Bai Bing replied, "Me too. I hope you are so happy every day, my girlfriend." If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 69 New Year's Day Activities. In the next week, Lin got up in the morning and came to Bai Bing's house to eat breakfast together almost every day. Sometimes, if it was too early, she would drag Bai Bing to go running together. Bai Bing also gave Lin a key to her house. Lin put it in her bag with a reluctant expression. After breakfast, Bai Bing discussed the next plot of the game with Bai in the study, while Lin watched a movie with a projector in the hall or tinkered with the home decoration. Of course, the money was spent by Bai Bing, and Lin said that she was helping Bai Bing improve his aesthetic taste. At noon, the two of them occasionally ate at home or went out. After eating, they went shopping or watched a movie together. After that, they went to buy vegetables and went home to cook together. During this period, the relationship between the two quickly heated up, and Bai Bing also felt the warmth of the family. Since graduating and starting a business, almost no one has come except a few roommates. When she is alone at home, she will inevitably feel empty. Seeing Lin disturb herself heartlessly every day, Bai Bing's face is normal, but she is actually very happy in her heart. Today is the day before New Year's Day. Unlike usual, Lin went to the supermarket alone to buy groceries this afternoon. Bai Bing gave Lin his car keys and told her to drive carefully, then waited for the visitor at home. After a while, a young soldier in military uniform walked out of the elevator and saw Bai Bing waiting at the door. The soldier saluted Bai Bing, and Bai Bing stretched out his hand to shake hands with him. "Come in and sit for a while." The soldier said, "Mr. Bai is too polite. I won't go in and sit. Time is tight. General Zhang asked me to go back immediately after completing the task." Bai Bing did not insist. He took out a USB flash drive from his belt and handed it to the soldier and said, "Your general knows what the things in it are. If he has anything to know, he can ask him to call me directly." The soldier saluted again with the USB flash drive. "Okay, I will tell you truthfully, then I won't bother you." Bai Bing looked at the soldier and asked after he entered the elevator, "Are you sure this simulation scene is okay?" The black and white voice came, 1:1 size, the simulation map of the entire Guangdong province. Everything pursues truth. If you are not wrong, I'm sure. Bai Bing said that's good. Next I'll wait for their notification. Hey Bai, don't worry, I can guarantee that no simulation scene can compare to the world I created. Bai Bing, tomorrow is New Year's Day. As we agreed before, let's send out the announcement of the New Year's Day activities for the next 3 days starting tomorrow. In the game, the number of registered players in the national service is close to 15 million, and the number of national service players who have passed the second job transfer has exceeded 1 million. The number of gangs has also exceeded 100. All maps near Jiushan Zuandu have been explored, and all the explored maps have been included in the scope of Jiushan Zuandu. What the national service players need to do now is to continuously expand the scope of the main city. As they continue to explore new maps, they will encounter new races, some of which can be diplomatically established, while others are hostile. Bai Bing doesn't care about the players' fancy operations. The 18 Hell's dungeons have also been cleared. After the clearance, the players who have passed the dungeons and changed their jobs for the second time can almost graduate, because the soul value, experience, and equipment that can be obtained will decrease with the increase of level. Now the players who form a team to brush the dungeon are all national service players before the second transfer. As for the European service, because of the invincible gamma play of the Planet game, the number of registered players is now close to 10 million. Don't think that it is exaggerated to reach such a large number of players in such a short time. You must know that the European service includes 50 countries in Europe, with a total population of nearly 750 million. Bai Bing believes that the number of players in the European service will soon exceed that of the national service. For unknown reasons, the European server has not sent troops to fight against European server players since the last battle of the elves. In order to help European server players grow up as quickly as possible, Bai Bing can only intervene through the main storyline. If the European server plays like the European server players did at the beginning, the elves and wizards will probably destroy the main city of the European server first, and then fight each other. You must know that in the Yunhei forest, where the European server's City of Hope is located, there are only elves and wizards in addition to European server players, and both races are high-level races. If compared with the concept of players, low-level races are players who have not yet turned 1, medium-level races are after the first turn, and high-level races are after the second turn. Chinese server players are now equivalent to high-level races, and many people in the European server have successfully turned 1, which is already considered a medium-level race. System notification. Planet players, the server-wide New Year's Day event New Year's Day Brawl will be launched at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. All players can receive holiday tasks from the festival messenger in their respective main cities. The tasks last for 3 days. Completing the tasks will reward corresponding holiday coins. When a certain number of holiday coins are reached, they can be exchanged for spring costumes, mounts, and New Year's Day event props at the festival messenger. The event starts at 8 o'clock on the morning of January 1st and ends at 2400 hours on the evening of January 3rd. At the beginning of the event, a certain number of holiday treasure chests will be randomly refreshed on the entire map. Open the treasure chests to randomly obtain holiday coins and New Year's Day event props. During the event, players can participate in the lucky draw on the event page. The cost of each lucky draw is 100 soul points, and the items that can be obtained are unknown. During the New Year's Day Brawl, players can steal event coins from players around them. The more event coins they have, the redder the color of the name displayed above their heads. Note, be careful of being hit with a club. Event props, trickster brick. You can knock on the player you want to steal from. The knocked player will be stunned for 10 seconds. After waking up, he will not be knocked for the next 5 minutes. The knocking player can steal the activity coins from the knocked player within 10 seconds. Note, the faster the hand speed, the more you can steal. Piggy bank. A piggy bank can store 500 activity coins. The activity coins stolen from the player can be stored in the piggy bank. Each player has a piggy bank. You can buy multiple piggy banks in the event store with soul value. Note, a symbol of wealth. Oil barrel. During the stun time of the knocked player, you can use the oil barrel to splash the opponent to set a tracking mark. One oil barrel can be splashed 5 times. It can be purchased in the event store with soul value. Note, a must-have item for a gentleman's revenge. Players participating in the event cannot use buff skills and medicine such as invisibility, sprinting, and secret medicine during the event. Event store. Spring costume. 100,000 activity coins. Mounts, white bear. 50,000 activity coins, ostrich. 50,000 activity coins, antelope. 50,000 activity coins, silly roe deer. 50,000 activity coins, piggy bank. 100 soul points, oil barrel. 100 soul points, As soon as this announcement came out, both the Chinese and European servers were collectively furious. Fuck. The official dog finally held an event. My youth is over. Fashion. Mount. This event is so bloody. I feel like my friends around me are looking at me weirdly. Event name. Friendship boat rolling event. Fashion can be given, but a silly rodeo must come. Event props actually need to be purchased with soul points, and the official dog wants to earn my soul points again. Justifiably beat my teammates. Chapter 70. Activities in progress. In the new year, players in the game Planet gathered at the festival messengers in their respective main cities early in the morning to receive tasks. The content of the tasks is almost the same as the content of the activities. Once a player receives a task, it means that he has participated in the activity, and a star will be displayed on the character's head. If a player does not receive a task, there will be no change. There is no need to worry about being hit by a club behind him. The players who usually gather together seem particularly lonely today. They look back every 3 steps like thieves. When the activity started, the players fled the main city as soon as possible. Now is not the time to fight. The most urgent thing is to find the activity treasure chest. After Zhao Mu received the task, he ran to the camp of the Kra tribe as soon as possible. Looking at the densely packed players teleporting around, Zhao Mu rushed into the tent of the chief of the Kra tribe regardless of anything. When the chief saw that it was Zhao Mu, he did not look good. After all, this kid kidnapped his daughter and asked unhappily, "What are you doing here?" Zhao Mu smiled and said, "It's okay, I'm here to hide." After that, he found a treasure chest flashing next to Zinzao, and Zhao Mu's eyes lit up immediately. So lucky? Question mark? Xinjiang had a question mark on his face. What did he mean by hiding? Then he saw Zhao Mu running to him ecstatically, squatting down and groping in the air. What was this guy doing? Is he crazy? Zhao Mu opened the treasure chest and immediately received a system prompt. Get 100 activity coins. Yes. Zhao Mu was ecstatic. Xinjiang was furious when he saw this lunatic going crazy beside him. Not only did he kidnap his daughter, but he also went crazy in front of me. How could I tolerate you? Exclamation mark. At this time, Xinjiang had also grown into a dominant boss. Although Zhao Mu was now a second level Dharma image, Xinjiang could still ravage him at will. He stood up, grabbed Zhao Mu's clothes on his chest, and threw him out of the tent. Then Xinjiang walked out of the tent and planned to continue beating him. He found that there were many more human figures in his race. Some people were groping in the air on the ground, and some took out bricks and slapped others on the back of the head, and then groped them, and turned around and ran away. Seeing this, Zhao Mu knew that he could be attacked at any time, so he immediately stood up and planned to run into Xinjiang's tent again. At this time, Xinjiang suddenly arrived and greeted Zhao Mu loudly with joy when he saw him. Mew mew. Several players around heard the sound and turned to see Zhao Mu, and then saw the slightly red name on his head and immediately smiled maliciously. Zhao Mu was half disappointed when he saw this. No matter how much he could resist, 2 fists could not defeat 4 bricks. He stood up and planned to run. A figure suddenly appeared behind Zhao Mu and hit him with a brick. Zhao Mu suddenly felt dizzy. At this time, Zhao Mu had only one thought in his mind. My activity coins are gone. Under the stunned gaze of Xinjiang and Yu, Zhao Mu seemed to have been slapped hard. His body kept spinning, and the human who slapped him ran away immediately after groping him, and did not forget to greet Xinjiang and Yu while running. Hello, clan leader. Hello, sister-in-law. Xinjiang and Yu didn't know what to do for a while. Although this group of human guys occasionally did some crazy things, they were generally easygoing. What happened today? They actually collectively attacked their own people. Yu immediately ran to Zhao Mu's side to show concern. After a few seconds, Zhao Mu stopped spinning and looked at the 0 activity coins displayed in his backpack. He wanted to cry immediately. Yu saw that his lover was fine and immediately asked about the situation. Zhao Mu let go of Yu's hand and said to himself, "You forced me to do this, so you can't blame me." Then, under the stunned expressions of Xinjiang and Yu, he took out the familiar bricks from his backpack and rushed to the other players who were groping on the ground not far away. Yi Jian was squatting in a corner of the Shuan Mountains. There was an activity treasure chest in front of him, but Yi Jian did not intend to open it. Instead, he chose to fish. He squatted here to fish for players who found the treasure chest and planned to open it. This trick worked every time. He had used this trick to disgust others more than a dozen times. Now he had nearly 10,000 activity coins on him. His backpack was full of piggy banks and his name on his head was red. At this time, a void professional player found the treasure chest and ran forward immediately. Yi Jian clenched the brick in his hand and followed quietly. The void player may not have been beaten by society. After seeing the treasure chest, he ignored the environment around him and squatted down to open it. Yi Jian appeared behind him and knocked him unconscious with a brick without saying a word and then robbed him. Tip: get 2000 activity coins. The duration of being stunned in this activity is 10 seconds. Players can steal 500 activity coins per second, and the maximum amount that can be stolen is 5000. Yi Jian stole for 5 seconds to get 2000, which proves that this player only has 2000. While the void player is still in a dizzy state, Yi Jian immediately squatted down to open the treasure chest and turned around and ran away without even looking at the prompt. However, the stunned player also wanted revenge. He took out a barrel of oil and poured it on Yi Jian, shouting, "There will be a reunion in the mountains and rivers. Don't let me find you. If I find you, I will definitely do you a favor." Yi Jian is of course not afraid of such crazy words. Just kidding. I don't know how many times I have been splashed, and you are the only one left. Everything is for Demacia. Everything is for fashion and mounts. Now I have more than 10,000 activity coins on me. If I have another 40,000, I can exchange for a mount. Very good. Continue to find the next treasure chest to fish. At this time, Yi Jian had forgotten what he had just obtained from the treasure chest. The treasure chests he had opened before either obtained soul points or activity coins. Twice, herbs were opened. Yi Jian thought it was the same thing this time, so he didn't look at it. However, at this time, there was a whispered dragon energy in the backpack, which was slightly glowing with green light. Yusong and Wang Yu were a couple different from most players. Most other players were afraid of being ambushed, so they didn't dare to go in groups. However, these two were a couple, so their trust value was relatively high. Due to the advantage of numbers, Yusong and Wang Yu were not too easy to ambush others. There was no excessive fancy tricks. When they saw someone, they would attack from both sides. Other players saw that there were two people surrounding them, and they had no way to resist. Even if you knocked one of them out, the second one could catch up and knock you out as well. At this time, the two were touching a level 1 Yuangang player. Yuangang player was insulted and begged for mercy. "Big brother and big sister, leave some for me. Really, leave some. Don't take all. I worked hard to save the activity coins. I have old people and children to take care of." Ignoring Yuangang's plea, the two snatched the activity coins from each other and ran away without saying a word. Wang Yu asked, "Bao, how many activity coins do you have now?" Yusong immediately became alert, looking at the more than 20,000 activity coins in his backpack and replied, "Not many, less than 5,000. Wang Yu looked at the more than 30,000 activity coins in his backpack and said expressionlessly, "A little more than you, more than 7,000. I don't know when I can save enough activity coins for fashion and mounts. What about you? How much have you saved now?" Yusong comforted, "It's okay. The longer this activity lasts, the more activity coins others will have. If you are lucky, you can snatch 10,000 or 20,000 at a time. Don't worry." Wang Yu nodded in approval, and then the two secretly looked at the color of the name above each other's head and cursed in their hearts. Liar. Chapter 71 Activities in Progress Part 2. He Yang is a senior assassin player. With his skilled combat skills, he can deal explosive damage in both team and single player. However, the New Year's Day event really stimulated him. Invisibility, sprinting, backstab, charge, dodge, and agility are all useless. No matter how powerful and fancy you are, you have to stand there when a brick hits you. This disgusting event has pitted He Yang. Faced with attractive costumes and mounts, He Yang no longer insists on them. "If I get them, I'm lucky. If I lose them, I'm dead. I focus on finding treasure chests. If I can save them, I will save them. If I can't save them, it doesn't matter. As long as I don't get attacked, everything will be fine." However, imagination is sexy and reality is skinny. I was hit by a club when I opened 1 or 2 treasure chests, and I was hit by a club again when I opened 2 more. Now I'm a little crazy when I go out to find treasure chests. I'm afraid that a beast will jump out of the bushes and attack me if there is any movement. Every time I see a treasure chest, I have to circle around it and dare to approach it when I don't feel any danger. Seeing the treasure chest not far away this time, Yang still circled around as usual before daring to approach. However, at this time, a professional omniscient player with an extremely red name suddenly appeared in the bushes and walked out. Yang found that it was someone he knew. Lan Zifeng also saw Yang. The two looked at each other's names. Lan Zifeng's impression of Yang was that he was a master, but why was the name on his head almost white? Was he just attacked? Yang was very alert when he saw the bright red name on Lan Zifeng's head. This person has a bad record and is indeed not a good person. Lan Zifeng asked, "Did you exchange for a mount or a costume?" It's no wonder that Lan Zifeng thought so. Otherwise, why would such a powerful professional shadow killing player have such a white name? Yang didn't know how to answer for a while. He seemed to be underestimated. He decided to ignore Lan Zifeng and turned around and ran away, not caring about the treasure chests around him. Lan Zifeng was stunned when he saw Yang running away. Why run? Is there any danger? Then he looked back and saw an omniscient mage behind him, holding a brick in his hand and approaching him with a smile. Yu2 was embarrassed when he found out that the other party had discovered him because they were both players on the ranking list and they would occasionally fight bosses together. Yu2 put the brick behind him and said hello awkwardly. "Hello, Master Lan, what a coincidence." Lan Zifeng looked at the familiar man with the same color as his name on Yu2's head and his mouth trembled slightly. This is an insult to his IQ. "Do you think I don't know what you want to do if you put it away? I just saw it. It seems that woohoo, Yang, just discovered him and ran away. I didn't expect his sensitivity to be so high that he was almost attacked by surprise." Yu2 found that the other party was staring at him and continued to say awkwardly, "If there is nothing else, then I'll leave first. We can team up together when we have time." Lan Zifeng suddenly said, "How about we cooperate?" Yu2 stopped and looked at Lan Zifeng. Lan Zifeng continued, "You can get a maximum of 5,000 activity coins for a sneak attack. You and I have far more than 5,000 activity coins now. It won't be a big deal if we get stolen once. So why don't we cooperate?" Yu2 was obviously persuaded and asked, "How to cooperate?" Lan Zifeng, "The two of us will specifically look for lone fat sheep to knock on. Each of us will take turns. How much we can steal depends on our luck." Yu2 hesitated. It is indeed easier to knock someone out if 2 people cooperate than if one person does it and he can accept being stolen 5,000 activity coins. The wizard is his father, Lan Zifeng, and he should not lie to me. After all, this practice of killing the chicken to get the eggs is stupid. After sorting out his thoughts, Yu2 thought it was feasible and then nodded in agreement. Lan Zifeng stretched out a hand to shake hands with Yu2 to show that they had reached a cooperation. Yu2 felt relieved and walked forward to shake hands with Lan Zifeng. "Very good. It seems that my fashion and mount are settled. With the cooperation of 2 masters, no one can be our opponent." Seeing Yu2's inner relaxation and expectation, Lan Zifeng's other hand behind his back suddenly turned into a brick and slammed it on Yu2's head. Yu2's expression changed from astonishment to surprise. "Lied to me? Well, lied to me. Isn't this a win-win situation? Isn't cooperation good? Scum." Under Yu2's distressed gaze, Lan Zifeng grabbed 5,000 activity coins without any psychological burden and ran away immediately. After the dizzy state ended, he was so angry that his upper jaw kept hitting his lower jaw. This feeling of being deceived is really fresh. I haven't felt the feeling of being beaten by society for a long time. I forgot to pour oil in my heart. I really wanted to kill him by letting him run away like this. I must treat this beast well next time I see him. Yu2 stared at the direction where Lan Zifeng left and stood there for a few minutes before swallowing his breath. However, just when he was about to leave to look for prey, the familiar dizziness came again. What happened? I was slapped again. After he Yang escaped from Lanzifeng, he found that the other party did not catch up. He stopped and thought about the treasure chest just now. If the other party did not find the treasure chest, wouldn't I miss it in vain? Otherwise, I would go back and take a look. As a result, I found that Lanzifeng's beastly behavior towards you two was immediately eager to move. It seemed quite simple. After patiently waiting for the CD of the event dizziness, he Yang took out a strange brick and sneaked forward. He used all his life's strength to slap it, and then insulted you two who kept spinning in circles. After successfully getting 5,000 event coins, he ran away immediately. Well, it smells so good. At this time, you two woke up from the dizzy state again, and found that it was Woohoo, he Yang, who was also a great god. It turned out that the two of them had just teamed up. No wonder the magician would do such a thing of killing the chicken to get the eggs. I was naive from the beginning to the end. I'm so naive. Liang Ting has been in the process of sneak attacking others, and being sneak attacked by others since the morning. As the permanent commander of the Chinese server of Planet, other players will have the urge to unlock achievements and attack her when they see that the person in front of them is Liang Ting. The opportunity to shoot a commander is rare. Whether it succeeds or not is another matter, but it must be done. Liang Ting, who has been out looking for a treasure chest all day, feels that participating in this activity is more tiring than commanding a battle. When she sees innocent players who have not been beaten, Liang Ting will sneak attack without hesitation, but Liang Ting will run away without saying a word when she meets most of the players. There is no way, she is too popular. Looking at the eyes of this group of people, she feels that she will be caught and chopped off. After a busy day, Liang Ting climbed mountains and waded through water. She first hid from the Kra tribe to the Shuan mountains, and then ran out to the sea to hide in the Lingayu tribe. She searched for treasure chests in all kinds of tricky corners, witnessed all kinds of shameful and dark operations of other players, and witnessed all kinds of scenes where her former friends were killed because of their own efforts. Liang Ting finally saved up 50,000 activity coins and planned to return to the gang to exchange for mounts. What she saw and heard today made her feel that she had been sublimated from the depths of human nature. Fortunately, dawn finally came. The return skill was activated, and a white light appeared in the cabinet. Liang Ting walked out of the white light. It was safe to return to the gang. I could open the activity page to exchange my mount with confidence. I sat in meditation on the spot to open the page, selected my favorite antelope mount, checked it, and clicked to confirm the exchange. Huh? Why can't I exchange it? Strange. I closed the page and planned to try again, and then found that an old player in my gang was holding a brick and touching me. Liang Ting, what the hell? This is my own gang. Why would someone in his own gang attack his own leader? Shameless. Liang Ting hurriedly said, what are you doing? How dare you attack me? Have you forgotten that I helped you fight the boss and get materials last time? Cabinet player, oh, I haven't expressed my gratitude yet. Thank you, leader, for your hard work. The movement of her hands did not stop at all. Liang Ting continued to struggle. I'm your leader after all. Give me some face, please. Wu yiko yishao yifa. The cabinet players ran away immediately after robbing the money. They had to run away because this was their own cabinet leader. Liang Ting looked at the gang she had worked so hard to build, and suddenly she felt sad. People are good by nature. Haha, what the hell? I only have one feeling now. My heart is flying, but my heart is chilled. Chapter 72 Activities in Progress Part 3. On the first day of the event, many players had exchanged their favorite mounts, and a small number of players also exchanged for air costumes. However, more players were educated the whole day. You never know when an alpaca will jump out from some corner and do something bad to you after you have saved enough event coins. This heartbreaking process caused wailing everywhere in the forum area. I was plotted against by my most trusted friend. Can I call the police? My wife held a knife to my neck and extorted me every 10 minutes for the event coins I worked so hard to save. Is this considered domestic violence? You only have one wife. What did my 3 girlfriends say? The people above are awesome. I just want to open boxes quietly. Why are there always bastards fishing? This is the first time I felt strong malice while playing games. I have to say that the dog officials are really good at hurting people. I emptied my family's savings in the lottery. Did I say anything? In just one day, Bai Bing and Bai got a huge amount of soul points for nothing, which was more than what they had earned in a month of hard operation. No wonder other game companies like to hold lottery events. It's really too tempting. On the second day of the event, all players gradually became mentally abnormal. No matter whether they were other players or friends, they would cheat to death when they caught one, and there was no psychological pressure. As long as they could get mounts and clothes, friendship was no longer important. The players in the European server are more unrestrained than the players in the Chinese server. There are only 3 races in the Sea of Clouds forest, and many treasure chests are refreshed in the elves and wizards. Players occasionally encounter creatures of the other 2 races in the wild, and they ignore them. As long as the other party is not there, the players only have treasure chests in their eyes. The creatures of the 2 races were very vigilant at first when they saw the players. After all, they had experienced the combat power of the human race before, and both races were afraid of the human race. Later, they saw that this group of humans ignored them, and some of them were operating in the air beside them and greeted them. Occasionally, they saw that the human race attacked their own people. For the first time, the creatures of the 2 races felt that they had seen something they had never seen before. Originally, after experiencing the Battle of the Elves and Wizards were interested in forming an alliance with the players in the European server. However, seeing this group of lunatics even beating their own people, they were afraid that if they formed an alliance, they would not be able to make any unreasonable moves against their own races. Later, when the 2 tribes were fighting each other in the wild, they didn't care if they saw humans nearby. Anyway, as long as you didn't provoke them, they wouldn't bother to care about you. Occasionally, when the 2 tribes were fighting, the humans would suddenly run between the 2 tribes and do some crazy things. Sometimes you would even see the humans sneaking and attacking their own tribes. At this time, both tribes would stop and watch in amazement. Unlike the 2 elves and wizards in the European server, the other races in the Chinese server thought that the humans were fighting among themselves at first. The Kra tribe, the Lingayu tribe, the Shitan tribe, and other races that formed an alliance with the Chinese server players first jumped out to be peacemakers. After all, trading with the humans is so tempting. There is no need for war or fear. You only need to develop your own race with peace of mind to continue to grow. Moreover, the humans are extremely honest, and their actions of doing what they say have made many allied races feel good about them. This time, seeing the human race beating each other everywhere, it was extremely heartbreaking. I was afraid that if this continued, the human race would fall apart. In the end, many allied races who couldn't stand it saw this behavior and stepped forward to stop it. Many players who planned to sneak attack were blocked by other races. The players who participated in the event looked at the allied creatures everywhere with a confused look on their faces. After stopping them, they also put 2 players on the scene together to ask if there were any contradictions or misunderstandings, and planned to give a psychological counseling lecture on the spot. The confused players thought that the game officials increased the difficulty of their own activities to prevent them from getting event coins. Are you kidding? I will compromise so easily? Many enlightened players showed an expression of reconciliation and misled other allied creatures. When they felt that their efforts were rewarded and felt a strong sense of accomplishment, the players would suddenly attack other players when they relaxed their vigilance. The cruel means and bad nature made the allied creatures witness the dangers of human figures, and their hearts were as sick as if they had eaten feces. What a lunatic, just to attack their own people. What a grudge. Faced with a human race who refused to listen and could not be defeated, all the allied races finally felt extremely frustrated and worried about the future. It seemed that they had to start thinking about the development of the race when they returned to the tribe. The internal strife of the human race and the stability of the race would not last long. Bai Bing did not care about the intrigues in the game. After all, hatred could only last for 3 days. After 3 days, he would do what he had to do. At this time, he received a call from Zhang Yi. Apparently, the other party had finished testing the simulation scene he made. Sure enough, When the call was connected, Zhang Yi said without any politeness, "We have experienced your simulation scenario." Bai Bing did not speak, and the voice continued to come from the phone. "We are very satisfied with the result. We are not afraid to tell you directly. We have discussed it internally, and we are 80% sure that we will give you this order, so you must be prepared to generate scenarios at any time." Bai Bing said, "No problem, as long as you tell me the simulation requirements and data, I will complete it in the shortest time." Zhang Yi said, "Someone will send you an encrypted document later. The data we provide in the future will be extracted through the encrypted document. One document corresponds to one scenario and will become invalid when it is completed." Bai Bing asked what he was most concerned about. "Can our company issue an announcement to reach a cooperation with your military region?" Zhang Yi said, "Yes, but we have to wait until we complete the process. After all, many procedures need to be approved, and it won't take too long. We will also issue an announcement at that time. No mistake, one poem, one post, one content, one book, one forum." Bai Bing expressed his gratitude, and the two exchanged pleasantries before hanging up the phone. It was settled. In the future, even if he had a golden body in China, the pressure from the company would be gone, so he could let go and spend his time freely. Moreover, with the cooperation with Zhang Yi, every scene order would be a huge profit, killing two birds with one stone. The next most important thing was to open up the American market, a market with a population of 900 million. As long as Planet could run, as long as it was properly managed, as long as it could keep its footing, and as long as there was time, Bai Bing was confident that he could sweep the American game and attract 50 million players at least. In this way, his own game map would be initially formed. It would not be a dream for Planet game players in 3 continents to reach 100 million. When this number was reached, as long as he did not commit suicide, no one would dare to mess with him, and his own country could even have a green light all the way. With such a large group of young people abroad, and such a huge cultural output, the official would definitely spare no effort to keep this market. Chapter 73 Fukai. In the new year, compared with the initial launch, the players of the national server are obviously not happy with the stability of the game. How can there be no passion? The level and soul value can be slowly improved, but the trouble cannot be stopped. The current situation of the national server is that individual players team up to fight boss and level up to brush soul value equipment, while the players of the gang are obviously much more individualistic than individual players, and they organize private fights between gangs from time to time. Among the hundreds of gangs in the national server, the cabinet is the worst gangster gang, blocking the door of other gangs every few days to make appointments for fights. Liang Ting can no longer control the players in the gang. When the gang is active, they obey the command obediently, but when they are idle, they are disorganized and undisciplined. The gang that I worked hard to upgrade to level 3 and can accommodate 1000 people was turned into a club by the old players in it. Ding, the player eats a peach triggers the seal in the extremely cold area, releasing the evil god Fukai. Players can log into the official website to check the information of Fukai. The sudden system prompt made the idle players suddenly refreshed, and they all logged into the official website to check the information. Official website Fukai information. Evil spirits, blood spirits, feed on flesh and blood, enjoy sadism. 100 years ago, they were hunted down by the tribe for killing the princess of the Xingpeng tribe, and were eventually suppressed to the extremely cold region. After reading the information, the players only have one idea at this time: to make trouble. Dongzi, eating peaches, was confused at this time. When exploring the game map, he stepped into an extremely cold area. The map prompts that this area is an extremely cold area. A new map appeared in his page. He logged into the official website to check this area and found that there was no information at all. He had no choice but to continue exploring by himself. After taking a medicine to increase ice resistance, he didn't know how long he had explored. He found a circular altar in front of him. There were 4 burning stone pillars around the altar. A blood-colored circular pattern in the center of the altar was flickering. Out of curiosity, Dongzi walked forward and squatted down to touch the altar. The system prompt followed. White obsidian, a high-level forging material, can be used to forge equipment or enhance the equipment enhancement rate. Good stuff. Dongzi hurriedly took out a shovel and smashed the altar, obtaining one obsidian, and one obsidian. As Dongzi continued to smash, the red light in the center of the altar became smaller and smaller. Finally, with a boom, a huge crack appeared on the entire altar. A stream of blood came out of the crack of the altar, and a dark arm stretched out from the crack, followed by a head, body, lower body, and finally a tall figure in straw pants with a naked upper body crawled out of the crack. The strong wind beat Fukai's body, but he looked up at the hazy sky, laughed and shouted, "I'm free." Dongzi stared blankly at the boss in front of him, who seemed very awesome. Fukai looked down at Dongzi at his feet, and asked with a wicked smile, "You rescued me?" Dongzi's eyes lit up, and he nodded repeatedly in a hurry. Fukai looked at the unknown race that released him, and said with a wicked smile, "Although I haven't eaten for 100 years, and I'm very hungry, since you let me out, I'll let you go." Dongzi thought to himself, "That I feel embarrassed to mess with you, since you are so polite," and asked hurriedly, "Boss, where are you going? Can I go with you?" Fukai was surprised to see that the guy in front of him was not afraid of him. You know, ordinary creatures will beg for mercy when they see him. Revenge. Dongzi hurriedly said, "Boss, do you need a companion for revenge? I can help you." Fukai looked at this guy and smiled. "Help me, you are too weak. The race I want to avenge is a high race of creatures. With you, that's simply courting death." Dongzi hurriedly tried, "Boss, I can get people. I have companions. I can ask our tribe to help you together." Fukai said disdainfully, "How many people can you call from your tribe? Dozens or even hundreds are not enough to fill their teeth." Dongzi hurriedly issued a military order. "Don't worry, big brother, we can bring as many people as you want. Just tell me the number. As long as you can take us to fight, I will bring you as many people as you want." Fukai looked at the little guy in front of him in confusion. Are they helping me just so that he can take them to fight? Are they also a war-loving race? But how many people can be called? Haha, then I'll just tease you. Millions. Can you call them? Dongzi agreed without thinking. Yes, 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 yes. After that, he quickly found Liangting in the friend list and sent a message and sent the coordinates. Fukai, since you can't, then you still, what? Can you? Dongzi nodded repeatedly. Yes, I will call someone now. Fukai squinted. Are you kidding me? Dongzi, who got Liangting's reply, hurriedly said, "You trust me, big brother. Give me an hour. I promise that my people will come." Fukai was silent for a while, still squinting his eyes and looking. 1 hour. If your people haven't arrived by the time, I will eat you. At this time, the national server players received a system prompt. Planet players, now open the battle with the Xingpeng tribe. The Xingpeng tribe is an advanced race. Please explore according to the gameplay. Liangting applied for command without saying a word and then organized the team. It took 1 hour to rush to the coordinates sent by Chive Teo. She only had half an hour to organize, so she had to hurry. Fukai looked at the little guy who was still squatting on the ground and kept hitting the ground. What race are you? Dongzi answered honestly, human big brother. Believe me, as long as you take us, we promise to fight to the death. Fukai thought, human? I haven't heard of it. Why do you want to follow me? Dongzi continued to answer honestly, because there will be fights if I follow you, and you will definitely fight when you go to seek revenge. Fukai asked in confusion, are you humans a warlike race? Dongzi, yes, yes, the motto of our race is that you can skip meals, but you can't skip fights. No mistake. 1 poem, 1 post, 1 content, 1 6, 1 book, 1 bar. Take a look. Fukai smiled. There is such a strange race, so I will go and see it. Anyway, 100 years have passed, and it doesn't matter if I stay for an extra hour. In fact, Fukai exaggerated the number at the beginning. A number of 500,000 is already very good. If the human race really has 1 million, then he can let the human race directly contain the Xingpeng tribe. While Liangting was still organizing the players, Fukai watched the human creatures in front of him knocking on the altar bit by bit. Perhaps it was because he hadn't seen the creatures talking for too long, so he couldn't help asking, why are you knocking on the ceiling circle? Dongzi looked at Fukai in confusion. Collect materials, boss. Fukai stood up and said, "I'll help you. You stay away." Dongzi hurried away. Fukai raised his fist and punched down. The whole altar was like an earthquake. The 4 pillars collapsed, and the altar split into pieces of rubble of different sizes. Dongzi looked at the obsidian all over the ground and decisively stepped forward to put it into his backpack, otherwise he would definitely be robbed when the large army arrived. Fukai looked at Dong Zhi, who was as if he had found a treasure, and asked, "Are these things useful to your race?" Dong Zhi answered honestly, "Yes, as long as it can be forged and refined. Whether it is materials or herbs, we can sell them for money." Then he asked Fukai in a flattering way, "Boss, if we agree on your behalf at that time, can you give us some of the spoils?" Fukai glanced at Dong Zhi. "I'm not sure, but your race is very confident." Dong Zhi, "People die for money and birds die for food. What do you think?" Fukai smiled evilly and said, "People die for money and birds die for food. It does make sense. I just want revenge, and the rest is up to you." Chapter 74 Pengzin. The weathered continent is close to the extremely cold region. Unlike the perennially cold region, the weathered continent is warm all year round. The forests in the south are vast and the deserts in the north cover it. There are many races living in the continent, divided and ruled by 3 high-level races, namely the Xingpeng clan, the Poison Scorpion clan, and the Red Fox clan. The Xingpeng clan is the most powerful race among them, ruling the vast forests in the south. The Xingpeng clan lives in trees, and every tree is the home of the Xingpeng clan. The most lush and sturdy tree in the forest is the habitat of the Xingpeng clan leader. Since the Xingpeng clan's god Pengzin used the power of the entire clan to seal Fukai 100 years ago, he handed over the position of clan leader to the high-level creatures in his clan, and he himself lives on the border between the weathered continent and the extremely cold region to guard it. When Fukai broke the seal, on a cliff at the junction of the weathered continent and the extremely cold region, Pengzin opened his sharp eyes, looked at the direction of the altar, and muttered to himself, "Fukai." At this time, Fukai was stunned by the vast number of human troops. There were too many of them. There were more than 1,000,000 of them. Liangting walked up and asked excitedly, "Boss, when will we set out for revenge?" There was no other way. Now the domestic players are crying for food. If they don't find something to do, they will be in chaos. Fukai has seen big scenes after all. After hesitating for a while, he said, "The sooner the better." Liangting's eyes lit up immediately. Fukai looked at this group of undisciplined human troops and felt a little entangled. The interests had been explained to the human race. This time they were going to war and fighting, but why were they so excited? Are they really not afraid of death? The other party is a high-level race with gods. How about persuading them to think it over? Liangting looked at Fukai, who was in a daze, and urged him, "Boss, let's set off quickly. It will be dark if we are any later." Fukai said, "We have to go through the extremely cold area to get there. With the speed of the army, it is impossible to get there in less than 2 days." After that, he immediately felt a strong breath approaching. He turned his head and saw a butterfly emitting white light slowly landing in the middle of the players. The butterfly instantly turned into a huge light gate, which was the battle portal. Only soul points were required to reach the battle site. The players were eager to move. Liangting turned around and asked politely, "Boss, what did you just say?" Fukai's scalp was numb. That was the breath of a god. The human race has gods, and they have spatial abilities. Gods that are more powerful than himself. He looked at Liangting solemnly. "Do you humans have gods?" Liangting nodded. The official must be considered a god who spared no effort to pit players, haha. Fukai gently jumped in front of the portal, looking at the human race around him who were looking at him with admiration. Millions of eager eyes seemed to be urging him. He gently touched the light curtain in the center of the portal with his fingers. An irresistible pulling feeling pulled Fukai into the portal. The scene of heavy snow in front of him instantly turned into an environment of birdsong and flowers. Breathing the familiar air, Fukai's eyes exuded spirit. Yes, this is the weathered continent. I'm back. Human creatures kept appearing around him. Liangting walked to Fukai and asked eagerly, "Boss, where are our enemies?" It was the first time that Fukai encountered a race that loved fighting so much. It was difficult for him to adapt for a while. This should be a good thing. At least he was not afraid that they would flee in the face of battle. But why did it feel weird? pointing to the dense trees around him. The forest in front of you is. These trees are the habitat of the Xingpeng tribe. After hearing Fukai's words, the players started to cut down trees without saying a word. Some chopped with swords, some set fire, and some used electric shocks. It's a great experience to set fire to the mountain. Brothers, don't use fire, chop it. Look at this. 1,000-year-old wood blocks, high-grade materials. Oh my god, you should have said it earlier. Does this count as destroying other people's homes? Yes, don't chop. Leave it to me. It's better to enjoy alone than to enjoy together. Fukai looked at the players who were chatting and chopping trees. Why are you chopping trees? Exclamation mark. I just told you that these trees are the habitat of the Xingpeng tribe. You don't have to chop the trees too. So straightforward. Question mark. Liang Ting, who was standing next to him, looked like she wanted to participate. There was no other way. She was the commander and had to have a pattern. She couldn't go along with them. I had to have the image of a commander. Fukai didn't have the heart to disturb their happiness at this time, but God knew how long these psychopaths would chop. Fukai, long time no see. A voice reached everyone's ears. Everyone looked up and saw an old man in linen clothes standing on the tree. Fukai looked at the old man with a ferocious expression and said with a smile, Pengxin, I didn't expect you are still alive. Pengxin, the official data shows that the spirit of the Xingpeng tribe is going to fight the boss right away. Shouldn't it fight the monsters first and then the boss? But what does it have to do with me? Now is the time for Fukai and Pengxin to talk nonsense, so hurry up and cut down the trees. Pengxin looked at the familiar Fukai and saw the millions of players who were demolishing the house and felt angry. After all, I'm also a spirit. Not only do you ignore me, but you also want to destroy our home. How spectacular and efficient it is to chop down trees with millions of creatures. My race has worked hard for several years to raise a tree that can live, and it takes countless time to cultivate and grow it. Now it is destroyed by you ants. Pengxin's sharp eyes are filled with anger. Fukai was secretly pleased to see that Pengxin was already angry and said with a wicked smile, Pengxin, we have to settle the hatred from 100 years ago this time. Pengxin stared at Fukai, just you and this group of ants. Fukai sneered, you can't kill me, and I can't kill you, we all know that, but I can at least kill half of the creatures of your Crossing Peng tribe. Pengxin knew that Fukai had the capital, and Fukai and the Crossing Peng tribe had been fighting to the death, so he made a sharp sound towards the sky, which scared the players. What is this old eagle doing? He scared me so much. You don't have to shout so loudly, even if you lose a verbal battle. No mistakes. One song, one post, one content, one six, one book, one bar, one look. I envy this voice. There will be no problem singing high notes. Your focus is quite novel. Liang Ting asked, what's his name? Fukai explained patiently, he is the existing god of the Xingpeng tribe, Pengqin. Liang Ting looked at Fukai speechlessly and continued, what I asked is why he shouted so loudly just now. Fukai immediately lost his patience. He, a high and mighty god, was actually despised by you, call the tribe members. After thinking about it, he kindly warned, the Xingpeng tribe is a superior race. If you leave now, I won't blame you. Liang Ting didn't listen to the second half, and immediately sent a message on the command channel. Hurry up and cut, the other side is calling people. Then he asked Fukai with a confused look, what did you just say? Fukai was speechless. I said that, if you are afraid, you can leave. You don't have to sacrifice the lives of your race for me. Liang Ting pretended to be profound at this time and said, power will eventually run out, life will eventually end, wealth and honor are determined by fate, life and death are in the hands of God. Big brother, you don't need to say more. Fukai was stunned by Liang Ting's words. Why do I feel like my blood is boiling? Pengxin obviously heard Liang Ting's words. He glanced at the millions of creatures and said, I originally wanted to persuade you to leave, so that I could let your rudeness go. Since you said so, it seems that you really intend to be our enemy. Fukai looked at the human race around him whose logging speed had obviously increased. It seemed that this group of creatures were not completely useless. Although their behavior was strange, they were a race worth making friends with. Chapter 75, Xingpeng Clan. Fukai sat on the ground and stared at Pengzin, who was squatting on the tree with an evil smile. Fukai was afraid that Pengzin would suddenly attack the human race. Pengzin also had this plan, but it was unlikely in front of Fukai, so they confronted each other like this. Compared with the heavy atmosphere between the two of them, the behavior of the players from the national server who destroyed the atmosphere at this time was rather abrupt. Almost all the trees that could be cut down around them were cut down, and they formed small teams and sat together to chat. How long do you think we have to wait? Didn't the other side call for players? Why haven't they come yet? Will they not come? Are they scared? It's boring for us to just wait like this. Will these two big guys fall in love with each other just by looking at each other like this? Are you crazy? They are both men. How can they fall in love with each other? And this is a game. Do you think the official will set up such a disgusting operation? Haha, if the love between two people is long lasting, especially between father-in-law and mother-in-law. Pengzin, who was staring at Fukai, heard the whispers of the players and his mouth trembled slightly. Fukai's originally evil smile was a little embarrassed. There was nothing he could do. It was too embarrassing. Obviously, the atmosphere was so solemn. Why could this group of people chat so leisurely, and the content of the chat was so disgusting? There were two gods in front of them. Don't you have any psychological burden at all? Are you so careless? Exclamation mark. After about 10 minutes, Pengzin, who was squatting on the only tree, and Fukai, who was meditating on the ground, stood up together. Black spots appeared in the sky, growing from small to large. Densely packed pengbirds landed on the ground and transformed into humanoid creatures. There were also millions of them, and the aura they exuded was stronger than that of the players. There were also dozens of high-level creatures among them. The players stood up happily when they saw that the Xingpeng tribe had finally arrived. They stood loosely behind Fukai and rubbed their hands. Fukai looked at the Xingpeng tribe's combat power, which was much stronger than 100 years ago, and squinted his eyes in thought. If it was just the combat power of 100 years ago, the human race might be able to fight head-on. However, after 100 years of precipitation, the Xingpeng tribe has dozens of high-level creatures. If a fight really broke out, millions of human races would probably be wiped out. Pengzin also didn't want to start a war, so he said to Fukai, "You know that the group of creatures behind you can't beat our tribe. Leave, Fukai. As long as you swear to never come back to Fenghua continent, our grievances will be written off. Otherwise, you will face more than 100 years of suppression this time. I will guard it myself then." Fukai laughed instead of getting angry. "Right off? Hahaha, how can a blood feud be written off? Pengzin, you are old, and you don't have the bloodiness you had in the past. I swear to massacre all of your Xingpeng people, including you." Pengzin said no more, and Fukai turned around and said to Liangting, "The Xingpeng tribe now has dozens of high-level creatures, and you are absolutely no match for them. This is my final advice to you. If you leave now, I won't blame you." Liangting obviously didn't pay attention to what Fukai said. She was discussing the battle plan on the command channel at this time. Since she saw that the lowest racial level of the opponents was ordinary boss level, the vast majority were business boss level, and there were dozens of overlord level boss, her eyes lit up. The players were not afraid of the opponent's high combat power, but that the opponent was too weak and the fight would be over in a short time. Every previous battle was like this. It was not satisfying at all. The official always kept the players in suspense. The players clearly intended to save honor points to exchange for equipment, but they couldn't save enough in one battle. Fukai saw Liangting's absent-minded look and thought that she was hesitating. Just as he was about to let her leave, Liangting couldn't wait to ask Fukai, after discussing the plan, "Boss, are we going to fight or not? I'm sleepy." Fukai looked at the human creature in front of him speechlessly. "It seemed that you didn't hear anything I said to you just now, right?" he said helplessly. "In that case, don't blame me if you exterminate your clan." Fukai turned around and was about to talk to Pengzin. Pengzin spoke first. "I can see that. It's a pity that the group of creatures behind you will no longer exist after today." Fukai smiled evilly. "At least your people will be buried with them, so they won't lose." "Pengzin, let's go. You don't want to hurt the creatures behind you when we fight." Fukai, "Fight? No, that's a fight to the death. I hope you won't let me down." When the two gods were about to leave the battlefield, Liangting suddenly called Fukai, "Boss." Fukai paused in the air and turned back to look at Liangting in confusion. The latter asked as a matter of course, "You haven't told me what it means to win." Pengzin looked at Liangting with a strange expression. Fukai didn't know whether to be ashamed or admired. "How can you be so confident? How can you say you have won? If you can drag it out for a day, I will consider you awesome." He had no choice but to answer, "Just kill all the birdmen here." After that, he flew away without looking back. Pengzin said to Fukai with a hint of meaning, "The creatures you brought are very confident." Fukai argued, "A warlike race is not something that a dying race like you can understand." Pengzin still had a blank expression. "A warlike race like you is no wonder they are willing to work for you. It turns out that you sympathize with each other." Liangting looked at the endless Xingpeng tribe not far away. It was the first time she fought a battle with millions of advanced races. Unlike the previous elves, there were only tens of thousands of elves at that time. Although the human race and the Xingpeng tribe were of similar number, their combat power was not matched. Under normal circumstances, they would definitely not be able to win. However, the players were not afraid at all. If they couldn't win, they would drag it out until every one of them died. Liangting sent a message on the command channel. "There are more than 100 gangs present. Your gang's mission is to deal with the opposing overlord boss. If you can't kill it, you must hold it back for me." The main force is left to individual players. The battle plan of this number is no longer very useful. I will not give more orders. Act freely. In the Xingpeng army, countless creatures are ready to move. As one of the three dominant races in the Fenghua continent, the Xingpeng tribe has not faced such a grand war for many years. Countless years of comfort have long made them forget the bloody taste of war. However, the Xingpeng tribe is inseparable from the fierce character in their bones. Facing countless enemies not far away, and enemies weaker than themselves, they should be able to have a good meal. On one side are millions of players who are extremely eager for battles, honor points, experience, soul points, and equipment, and on the other side are millions of Xingpeng tribes who are ready to move. Neither side is willing to give in to the other. What are we waiting for? Why don't we just go up and fight? What do you know? War must have a sense of ritual. You have to be fierce during the confrontation. You have to crush the enemy from the heart and give them a sense of oppression. That's right. It's very ruinous if you suddenly rush forward when everyone is confronting each other. Then how can we give them a sense of oppression? How about we sing? Add some sense of ritual. No mistake. One song, one post, one content, one book, one forum, 1619. You start singing, we'll sing along with you. Remember to sing a more domineering song, otherwise it won't be powerful. Okay, I'll count 1, 2, 3 and you guys can sing together. Got it? Hurry up, I'm sleepy. Son, I'm your dad. 1, 2, 3, sing. Countless voices sang the war song in the players' minds together. The deafening sound was not only heard by the Xingpeng army on the opposite side, but also by Fukai and Pengzin who were confronting each other in the distance. Pengzin had a strange look on his face, and Fukai's dark face turned slightly red. What the hell, these psychopaths, what kind of song are they singing during a war? It really ruined the atmosphere. The Xingpeng tribe was confused at this time. The atmosphere was good when the two sides were confronting each other and preparing for war. Why did the other side suddenly sing, and they sang such a disgusting song? What was going on? Seeing the confused Xingpeng tribe, the players were immediately overjoyed. The opponent is confused. Singing really works. The opponent must have felt the pressure. It seems that our plan has worked, and we have crushed them in terms of momentum. Brothers, charge. The opponent is all elite. The quick ones will be defeated. I'm going to fight the elites. 2nd Battalion Commander, where is your Italian cannon? When the Xingpeng tribe was confused, all the players rushed forward. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.